Cigarette. I mean, who doesn't? Oh, hi. Welcome to Broadsheet on the Telly. My name is John Preposterous Ryan. You're very welcome. A big hello to celebrity accountant Vanessa Foran.
Hi, everyone.
To Stephen Garland. And I forgot where Stephen is actually based now. Are you in?
I'm back in Ireland, in Longford, and embarking on getting back out into Europe very soon. So.
Okay. And a big hello to Neil Curran, our producer, who produced the show.
Produces.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. And Neil is in Dublin. A very big welcome back to Marcel Kruger, who's Dundalk-based but Cologne-born, and is back from a few weeks in Germany.
Indeed so.
Okay. Welcome back, Marcel. And we have I think, hang on. Oh my! Who could that be?
The guards.
Did you get that? The bailiffs. Oh, hang on. Hello. Fionnuala Killeen is joined us from Clane.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Fionnuala.
Hi, nice to join you this evening. Thanks a million for having me on.
And Fionnuala is the co-organizer of the Danielle Carroll Summer School, which takes place this Saturday in Fionnuala.
The F2 in Dublin in Fatima. So it's a community event centre.
And Fionnuala is the co-organizer with Michael Cole, and the purple hue in Fionnuala's house suggests that her political allegiance is she is a constituency manager for Catherine Murphy of the Social Democrats. Isn't that right, Fionnuala?
Yeah. I was actually a member of her team before the Social Democrats existed. So, and purple has always been my favourite colour. So it's a very good fit for us, as well as politically and values-wise.
Okay, well, I understand Anne-Marie McNally is one of the speakers at the summer school.
Anne-Marie is indeed, she's the political director, and she's going to be giving one of the keynote speeches and be chair of the panel really on media. So that should really be something to watch. It's going to be on in the afternoon session. So there's going to be a few members on the with her, Olga Cronin, Kitty Holland, Niamh MacDonald, Lois Kaplan. So it's going to be a very, very good discussion on media diversity.
Yeah.
One of the problems we found, and which led Mick really to his concept really is the School for Danielle, is basically if you can't see it, you can't be it. So if you don't see women from a certain background being represented in the media, speaking on panel shows, speaking on the mainstream radio shows, well, we don't feel that voice is being heard. So it's an opportunity to kind of say, like, there's some really strong, engaged women, intelligent women from a variety of backgrounds that their voices are not being heard currently in the mainstream media. And so it's about having that discussion, raising that topic and seeking to get those voices out there. So we feel that there's a maybe not so underprivileged, but a marginalised voice of women don't feel that their issues are being discussed by women.
Yes,
on panel shows.
Anne-Marie wrote a column on the site Broadsheet a couple of weeks ago, and it identified this problem, and it's a little slightly complicated, isn't it? That she feels that working class women are patronised and treated almost like sort of like a toy, you know. They're treated as
caliber to be invited on, perhaps, and also maybe they also then maybe don't feel that they have the caliber to put themselves forward for those roles. So you know, so say if you're coming from a margin of society where you feel your voice isn't represented on the front page of the Irish Times or on the front page of the Irish Independent, well then maybe you wouldn't be so pressed to write an article for that.
Yes.
You have to see those voices being represented in mainstream media so that other people will put themselves forward to be that additional voice. And then sometimes women like myself or like Anne-Marie or like a lot of women out there now, there's been a lot of talk about women's issues in the last 18 months, really, also the years before. But you look at the mainstream panel shows and some nights you kind of I watch them, I enjoy them, but you watch them and you think there's 5 men discussing women's intimate issues, and surely there's women out there that ought to have been invited on, even if they're not a professional journalist, even if, you know, it depends on their professional expertise maybe, but there are women out there that can be representative on those panels that aren't being invited on, and I think that's an issue that sits with a lot of women in the last year or so.
And just on the tokenism thing, Fionnuala, what Anne-Marie was saying was that, like, you will have say a working class female voice, but it'll be alone. You know, it'll be one of occasionally, and then it'll be that person will be agreed with and patronized, and it'll all be
glommed over and moved on.
Yeah, and should be treated sort of in a sort of special way, I suppose, because they are rare enough on radio and television.
They are indeed, like, you know, and if you kind of, I sat down and matrixed all of the data, but I know people have been paying attention over the last number of months and are dissatisfied in the female representation. So where there's been a huge amount of focus, there's been issues with the cervical smear scandal, there's been issues with, you know, all of the female reproductive rights, you know, there's the referendum, not a lot seems to have changed when there's a groundswell of activism by women who have never been engaged in politics or community activism before, and, you know, they might not be so but now feel that they have a voice and they want that voice heard, and they remain mobilized. You know, those women are kind of meeting in groups. There's also men, you know, the men are not excluded. It's not about separating the sexes. It's about working together, and working together in a more 50-50 way rather than women being in a minority, you know. So there's really exciting things happening on the ground that maybe that message is. And I think that once that message, like I just came from a meeting tonight from a group of people that spent a year canvassing for a yes vote for the referendum, that would have been my preference to have campaigned for a yes vote. I know other people would have campaigned for the other side, but those people are mobilizing, and they're not just going to focus on that issue. They're now saying, like, right, okay, we've achieved this. This is fantastic. We never mobilized for anything before. What are the 5 things we're going to mobilize for next? Okay. And we walked away from that meeting tonight with a plan. And that's only one group of a number of groups in my county, which is Kildare. And I'm sure it's happening across the country. And I think, you know, people are excited about that.
Fionnuala, the Danielle Carroll Summer School, which is named after Danielle Carroll, who was a young mother who died in emergency accommodation. She's the mother of 2 sons, is that right?
Yeah, Danielle was a beautiful young woman. She was 27 years of age. She had a child that was 7 years of age, and she had a toddler that was 20 months old. She had been renting in private accommodation. Her landlord had sought to, you know, he needed her to move out because she was assessed for having a social housing need with South Dublin County Council. They had a contract with Leixlip House Hotel. They placed her in emergency accommodation. Her family and community base would have been in the Tala district, which is quite a distance from Leixlip in respect of public transportation if you don't drive, if you're a younger person, if you don't have independent means. So there's no bus from Leixlip to Tala. So with an infant that's, you know, under 20 months old, she would have had to get to her family and to get to her community contacts. She would have had to get a bus into town, a bus out to Tala. There was no support on site for her. There was other young girls as well in her situation in emergency accommodation in that hotel. The hotel itself held happy memories for me and my family in Leixlip. It's a beautiful place. But, you know, there's people are going through crises on their own, women with no support services. She was not entitled to access emergency support services in Kildare because her need lay with South Dublin County Council. Like, there's huge gaps in the service. Yes. It's an absolute tragedy. A beautiful young woman, a beautiful family, like, they're so nice. You know, it kind of struck home to me because up in Leeds, well, you know, it could happen to anybody. And you just think that in times of crisis, people expect services to be there for them. And unfortunately, they're not. And I just think that as you know, it really, only with the women in the community in Leixlip anyway, and in the wider Kildare area, that it was really awful. that, you know, a young life would be lost like that. Where, say, for example, if there was support services on site or close by, maybe the crisis could have been averted. We will never know. You can't really do ifs and buts. But we felt that we ought to pay tribute to that young lady and young women like her. Like, there's a lot of young women that are in emergency accommodation. They're unaccompanied. There's no other adult with them. They might be adults themselves, but they're responsible for young children. You hear stories about people taking 2 buses to get their children to school for 9 o'clock in the morning. And if you imagine a rainy autumn, winter or early spring day, trying to drag a child across Dublin on 2 buses is very uncomfortable. The children are tired. Children don't like change. They can't cope. There's behavioural issues in the schools then because children need security and stability. You know, I mean, there's a whole ripple effect of consequences. It's not just that somebody is in an emergency accommodation situation. So yeah, we felt that something needed to be done to pay tribute to that girl and other girls like her and to expose the gaps now. I'm probably saying too much, but I know that, like, say, for example, in May, I think it was, Kitty Holland wrote an article, and there's a statistic where from 3 districts in Dublin, which is Tallaght, Clondalkin, and another district, the statistics for women in 2017 where they fell victims to suicide was 50%. And the matrices for women is normally, it's 25% women. So there's a huge disparity, like there's a huge change there, a massive change, which you can't not examine and say, well, what happened here or what's going on here? And why are we not capturing these people when they're in a crisis, you know, and why can't we help them? So
Kitty Holland is going to chair a discussion on her article effectively, but the results of that are what she discovered.
Exactly, it was a report that was issued by the HSE, and so she, the social affairs amazing work for families that are in homeless accommodation. She would have written articles about children and their experiences of homeless accommodation as well. So basically, yeah, she's going to do basically called Voices Heard, and it's about the frontline experience of assisting women in crisis. So there's a variety of crises that women can suffer. So the panel members there, there's a might have heard of before. She's a senator and an amazing
Senator Lynn
Ruan, yeah, and you've got Tara DC as well, so she's from the Clondalkin Drugs Task Force, Leisha Naylan, you've got Claire O'Connor and Linda Hayden. So there's some women that have been involved in kind of groundbreaking community groups, really kind of have their finger on the pulse of what is families in underprivileged sectors of society that see that there's a huge need and there's a massive gap in services.
And then in the afternoon or later after that, you have the media discussion, which is chaired by Anne-Marie, and Olga Cronin from the Sheet, who's going to join us later, is one of the panelists. Isn't that right?
That Gemma O'Doherty is going to give a talk at 2 o'clock.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Gemma O'Doherty is
yeah. You don't want to forget about Gemma.
No.
So she's going to give a talk about media and corruption. So she's kind of trying to say that, like, the media needs to keep the government to account, and why might they not be? I don't want to preempt what she's going to say. I haven't seen her speech, but she's a fantastic speaker and, you know, has a lot of experience in investigative journalism. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to hearing her speak anyway. We're delighted to see her along. And
Fionnuala,
and then,
yeah, I beg your pardon. Sorry, I just want to say in terms of the tickets have all sold out, but it's been live streamed, but like this, it's been streamed.
Yes. Yes, we've made arrangements to live stream that via Periscope. And we're also going to record this on a separate device so that we can maybe break those recordings into chunks that might happen the following day, or I'm not sure about production. That would be Mick Cole's expertise, I'm afraid, or a passenger there with that. So yeah, we definitely want to make that available to people. There's also people that I'm aware of in my Kildare networks that are unable to attend and are delighted that they can watch it from home, you know.
Sorry. Please.
I was just going to say, with women's activism groups, there's a lot of childcare issues. So people sometimes aren't able to go into Dublin city centre for a day. So, you know, we always have to consider those eventualities that we need to cater for those.
And the fact that it's sold out. So maybe next year there's going to be a bigger venue. Could I just ask Vanessa, because we have too many. Our gender balance is a joke on this show, frankly. Neil, being the producer, anyway, we need to talk about it. But Vanessa, would you like to ask Fionnuala anything?
I don't think so. And congratulations on getting it off the ground.
Thank you.
My own personal experience is that I actually disagree with gender quotas, and you know, and I know the ethos of it is to contradict the other crowd, but for me personally, I have to get along with the lads, and I expect them to treat me the same as them. I go into the same exam hall as they do. I have to have the same license as they do, and I expect to be treated the exact same way. Whereas at the moment now, there seems to be a very strong drive, you know, sort of affirmative action, and I'm not sure we're getting the best women that are out there to fulfill these kind of sort of gender quota requirements. I mean, you can look at the last general election, and there was quite a number of gender quota candidates, and there were better candidates out there. And for me, I would personally be looking for the strongest candidate or the best choice. And I remember here, John, when we were doing the debate on the repeal referendum, and John was saying should all be women. But for me, it's not about that. I think if we're about equality, let's be about equality. You know, there's no. I just think this doubling down on has to be all about women, and we have to look for a woman. Let's look for the best candidate, and when we look for the best candidate, you know, they'll be quite surprised to know that most of them actually are women.
Could I respond to that, Vanessa, if that's okay?
Oh,
please,
yeah. I think you're absolutely 100% right. We should be 50-50. We should be equal with gentlemen. I have a lot of male peers that I feel equal to. That you know, we have relationships with the professional relationships between each other with the hugest respect. I admire their skills. They admire our skills. I think sometimes where I wouldn't agree with imposing gender quotas on shows. I don't think it's the right way to go. But I do feel sometimes where there are some issues that are particularly pertinent to specific intimate aspects of women's health, that an all-male panel isn't really the right way to go. And I do agree that sometimes it is about finding the right women, and it's about opening up the door for those women to feel that they can come through that door. And I think that's the difference. Maybe I didn't verbalize it right the first time, but it's about giving those women permission, or even enabling them to be invited on.
Sorry, what was that? We just lost you there for a second, Fionnuala.
Oh, sorry. So maybe enabling those good candidates or better candidates for those decided onto them.
Okay, I'll just hop in there while that's frozen for a second.
Fionnuala, you've frozen on us if you can hear us, but you've frozen.
Sorry.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
You're back now, are you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we just lost the very last bit there. Sorry, Fionnuala.
All right, okay. All I was saying that I think Vanessa's right, that you do have to allow the right people or candidates or panel members to come through. You have to enable those people to feel that either A, they can put themselves forwards to participate, or B, that it's accepted that they're invited to participate. That's kind of what I meant.
Thanks, Vanessa. Sorry.
Sorry, I just want to be measured on my contribution. I don't want to be measured any other way. And I expect most of the people I work with treat me like that. And even on this panel here, I don't think the lads see me as the female panelist at all.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't think I'm singled out like that. I hope not anyway, folks.
No. I mean, but Fionnuala, I think it's more like I mean, the big problem is RTE, effectively, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be? I mean, it's
will be made one of the main offenders. Yeah.
And
Sorry.
let's go through a sort of a quick, a brief, just on the media terms. Are there any? Is there any show that you would say reflects what you want on RTE, or is it close to? I mean, we know what's wrong with RTE, but is there anything there that like any hope there?
Into the zeitgeist and employ some innovation. And their autumn schedule shows something. You know, personally, they try, but I don't feel they go far enough, but that's my opinion.
And is their attitude towards working class women condescending?
I wouldn't say descending, but you don't see that demographic represented. And if you do, you see it represented in a particular way that's not championing those women. Like, you know, this is my opinion. Like, so I would like to see it. It's not that you have to have a very a certain way of speaking where you've had elocution, like, you know, but it's kind of like, so you have a certain style, a certain background, a certain qualification to be on those shows, and they should kind of let that go, you know, and I think just really take their pool of talented people, but take their pool of talent from a wider demographic, have the wider demographics appearing in soap operas.
Okay. Well, sorry, Vanessa, please.
If you don't mind, John. Well, half the board of RTE are women. It's 50-50. And you're talking about taking from certain demographics. You know, I struggle with that because, I mean, you could look at the demographic that Joe Duffy comes from, and he's quite proud of that. And I'm not a bit afraid of where I'm from either. But having said all that, one thing I know, and I'm around a bit, is the best salespeople are men, okay? And they know how to sell themselves. And that's where we need to be, we need to say, no, we're not staying behind the door anymore. That's where women, I think, they're quite happy being second best, or they're quite happy staying on the sidelines and just getting on with it. I think that's accepting a status quo, which brilliant women shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
I think men are better at selling themselves, so they're making sure that they're on the producers' call list when they're looking for a panel for whatever, on any channel, on any show, on any production. And I think that's where it's our job as women. Well, it's certainly my job to say, I'm as good as any of the lads. In fact, I'm better than most of the lads in my job. I'm going to say that. Whether they agree or not, I actually don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's my opinion. And it's up to my clients to decide otherwise.
Well, you're the only celebrity accountant I know.
This would be very much Jordan Peterson's take on it, no?
Well, yeah, do you know what? I never heard of Jordan Peterson until this week. Because I don't listen to any other people's news or opinions. I form my own. Now we're going off the subject, so let's go back to this.
But Fionnuala,
and I wish you the best at that conference, by the way.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you. Just Fionnuala, because I know you have to go. Just on the practicalities of it now. It's in a place called F3. That's a community.
F2 in Fatima, F2. Yeah. So it's a community, yeah. And
is that in the old Fatima Mansion?
Starting at.
No,
yeah, I think it's the community.
No, it's the old Dolphin House. It's at the other side of Fatima Mountains. Dolphin House ran down each side.
Okay, so is this a new building?
Fabulous facility. Sorry, John. It's a fabulous facility.
Is it? It's new, is it?
It was part of the regeneration there. Well, I suppose the regeneration started about 50 years ago, but with, you know, part of the Cork Street and all that redevelopment, and they took down one side of the flats, which I'm not sure they should have, but anyway, that's
it's not very important, but because the tickets are sold out, so nobody can go to it. But the live streaming begins. Fionnuala, do you know how people can get it then online?
Doing is we'll be posting a link on the Facebook page.
Balls. Excuse my language, sorry.
To be sent to yourselves.
That's the salty language.
Fionnuala, that connection. Fionnuala, I think the connection is gone or is going. Fionnuala?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now. We'll put I'll put those details on the site tomorrow morning. Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
And we're losing the connection. It was fantastic to speak to you, Fionnuala, and thank you so much for joining us. The very, very best of luck this weekend. Sorry, is there anybody want to ask Fionnuala a question before Fionnuala leaves?
Can I just add that I seen Gemma's Gemma did her presentation down here in Longford about a week, 10 days ago or something like that. Seen it, very, very good, very impressive. So you've got a hell of a speaker there, and people should try.
Really excited about Gemma's speech.
Try and get online. Yeah, she lets people know. Let's say.
Yeah, so that's 2 o'clock.
And then Olga then is at 4:30, or no, it finishes at 4:30. It starts at.
We've redid it slightly. It's finishing at 4 now because there's another event on in the centre following on. So the second panel will commence at 2:30.
Okay.
So that's the one that's chaired by Marie McNally.
All right. That'll be online at 2:30. 2:30.
It will indeed.
Brilliant, and Olga, and that's fantastic. Fionnuala, thank you so much.
No bother. Thank you so much for inviting us on. Have a great evening.
And give our regards to Catherine and everybody. And
I will. Thank you very much.
Well done, Fionnuala.
Great weekend.
Best of luck.
Brilliant.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
you. See you later. Bye now.
While Fionnuala joined us, Johnny joined us. Hello, Johnny.
How are you doing, John? How are you, lads?
Johnny.
Very well. Johnny looked very well, I must say.
Thank you. Yeah, lovely sun going down behind my back.
Grand stretch.
In the sunny southeast. Just a heads up there to Fionnuala. Fair play. I just caught I missed the start of it, but I think I had the gist of it from tuning in last week. Even though I wasn't on the panel, I'm still addicted to the 10 to 12 shift on a Thursday. So I wasn't there in body, I was there in spirit and visually. I think that's an amazing event. That I would have liked to ask Fionnuala was the media for women in Tralee. It was a big thing. It seemed like a corporate event there. It used to be advertised.
Oh yeah. Women in broadcasting, was it?
Well, women in media. But it was in Tralee. It was a conference every November there, I think.
Yeah.
But I think from what I understand that this is the opposite side of women in media. This is modern media as it is today, like. And,
but I think the women in media thing was a bit more establishment,
Yeah. So
this is more.
This is real. As you said, this is Zeitgeist. So I'm really sorry. This is this Saturday, is it?
It's this coming Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, I'm up in Tullamore with Mally, where Palestine gig, but it's great that it's going to be online. So
it's brilliant.
I'll definitely check in for that. Fair play to them.
We're going to talk about this at the Palestinian event in a moment. I just wanted to go to Stephen Garland, who has progressive PPM. It's PPMS is
primary progressive.
Primary progressive.
Everybody wants to be first,
Stephen's primary progressive.
Premier League, Stephen Garland.
PPMS. It's a vicious form of MS, and Stephen.
I like to think it's progressive, John.
Yeah, well, liberal. But Stephen went to Russia before Christmas. He raised money on GoFundMe. He got a stem cell infusion. And I got to tell you, Stephen, each time you come on the show, you just look better and better. Isn't that right? We agree.
I feel it, man, and it's good to feel it. So I'm doing a show next week. I see Vanessa there. Now I'm under pressure. I didn't know this. I've got Broadsheet representation coming down to Longford next Saturday. Now I really got to turn up.
It's not this coming Saturday. It's the Saturday week, isn't it?
Saturday 28th, yeah.
And where is it, Stephen?
It's in the Backstage Theatre, which is a beautiful theatre. It's in like a GA club, Longford Slashes, but it's a beautiful theatre. It's rack seating, which is something that I've never I've been inside. I've played in. I don't say played because I'm not a performing comic, but I've done performances, let's say, but never in big places as well, but never to rack. Rack seating is like it's going up off the stage, you know.
Okay, blimey.
And I'm going to get it's a 200-seater, so I've got quite a ridiculous. It's kind of like a home gig, so a bit of a ridiculous demographic. Everybody from I know there's 14-year-olds in there to 85-year-olds, my mother's friends, and you know everybody's in there, and I'm going, Jesus, tough room. and now the Broadsheet is here, you know, for
and another Ballyfermot reunion as well, Garland. Sorry to inform you.
You know,
but won't it be a case of like, are they laughing just because they know me? You know
what I mean. And so now I'm kind of, I'm not apprehensive about it, but you always are. It's like you're going out in front of a room full of 200 people that's expecting you to perform. It's also billed under comedy, which people tend to go straight to stand up with that idea. But this is kind of comedy storytelling where I'm telling a tale that's we try and inject the humor in. Go on, Vanessa, give.
No, but even on when you spoke about your predisposed show, and now I'm going to see the post-disposed show. I have this weird form. It's formed in my head. You're almost like a new Peter Ustinov. You know the way his shows were kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, much of everything is storytelling. Much of cinema is storytelling. Much of everything is storytelling. Hannah Gadsby has won the Edinburgh Award, and she's all over Netflix with the amazing show that's Nanette. And I mean, she's talking about giving up comedy because this was her story, and this was her storytelling show nailed. Storytelling. When I've been going to Edinburgh since mid 2000s. And when I was going then, there was about 3,000 shows, let's say, in Edinburgh every year, and you would have about 1,000, maybe 2,000 of them would be comedy shows. There'd be theatre and stuff and like that in there. Storytelling and spoken word and slam poetry has grown incrementally every year, and it's a big thing now. It's a subgenre, if you like, of the spoken word section. You know?
Stephen, would you mind me asking? A few weeks ago, you mentioned a young woman from I think Leitrim who had PPMS.
Cork. Yeah.
I beg your pardon. And you said that she was in quite a bad way, but that you suggested she take the route that you did in terms of GoFundMe and get to Moscow basically and get the stem cells. How is she now?
Well, I'm wondering how. I'm trying to recall that conversation because that's quite a traumatic thing for me personally, because I'm kind of out there, you know, because I've got a website. I'm going to be on a bunch, 2 local radios next week, pushing my show. And I went to Edinburgh, and I'm kind of making. I wouldn't say I'm making a lot of noise, but people might know that I'm here and I've done this, and they're curious about how to do it. So that girl turned up. So I kind of had an hour-long conversation with that girl, and then I put her in touch with the people in Russia, and then a week or 2 later, they said that she's gone too far. Now I spoke with I spoke with a completely cognitively totally coherent, charming lady on the phone. She's 39, and so
terrible.
You know what I mean?
Heart.
Yeah, and then all I thought I was doing was just reassuring her about the facility. Do you know what I mean? That the facility was great, and the doctors and your treatment is going to be A1. It's world class. It's the safest place in the world you can do this procedure. So I did all that kind of reassurance, but then a week later, the mat gets pulled out from under that. So that's quite a. That was a.
What was the time? Was it how late was she? I mean, in terms of a year ago, she could have.
Yeah, you can't really say that, but she was diagnosed at 33, and now she's 39. And she said to me on the phone, she said, you know, a couple of years. It's primary progressive is a quite slow progression. Like it took me a long time to move through the gears, let's say, and it's going so slow, and you're looking for a diagnosis, and that was my predisposed show, and so then. like I'm getting a bit dry in the mouth, kind of, because that was a kind of trauma, man. You know.
May I ask, what now for her in a sense? Is it just a case of managing decline and then?
You know, because I tell you what, she's like, she came through my dad, you know, like, because somebody went to her, you know, people, lots of 9,000 people have MS in Ireland,
Right.
and 15% of them are PPMS, only 15%, and those 15% are told there's no treatment, no cure. Now they're being told there is a treatment, or they tell everybody to wait for this treatment called Okra, and it's still a long way, I'd say, from a couple of years from being available on the HSE and stuff like that. But to be honest, the efficacy of this drug that's been touted as a landmark drug, and it's almost like, I do a lot of press release, and I'm a promoter of shows and different things, and I know a press release. And when the drugs tend to arrive on the market, it feels like a press release when it arrives with like caveats and a bunch of kind of you know, words like landmark. And I hate that kind of thing. And it only has the efficacy of this drug is 20%. 20% of people, it might react to it, and they will only they might reduce their progression by 20%. So that's hardly anything, you know. Okay. And so really there is nothing for PPMS. So the thing is that PPMS we're all equated. The PPMSers, let's say, people with MS are equated by a scale called the EDSS scale. And it's like, and that's basically the scale of mobility. So I check in. I've got I can see my my mobility scooter over here, and I've got my sticks. And
have you got a mobility? You've got a scooter.
Yeah,
wow, I took it. That's. Are you using it around?
For long distances, yeah.
Brilliant.
And I have it, like, it's an inherited one. And I'm not going to say too much because it might make an appearance at the weekend.
Okay.
And
but speeds.
Give us a go.
the lad of mobility scooters, Kevin.
I know, but
sorry.
Stop talking about that, because that's.
Sorry, Stephen. I'm going to butt in here. Can I just say, this is the first time I've seen you actually sitting up.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous. It's fabulous. But I'm thinking of that lady in Cork, knowing now she's been told she's too far gone, and she's looking at.
It's so shocking.
And we're all cheering you on and thrilled.
I know, it's shocking.
And it isn't it really, you know, for that poor girl. She's not even 40. Jesus.
You know what I mean? And I talked to her for an hour, completely cognitively coherent, and I said it to her. I said, "You sound perfect." And because we don't appear like it is until it starts to go downhill, and that's shocking. And anyway, look, I really hope nobody connected is kind of watching, or because I'm never going to kind of. It's up to her to kind of. Maybe I'll broach the subject again, because I wrote yesterday. I'll finish this very quickly. Please, will I, John? So I wrote yesterday. All the
time in the world, please.
I wrote yesterday the Times, because when I came out, and this is the serious end of it, and I'm trying to get my head into a funny space, by the way, because the priority of my show next Saturday night is to first of all entertain, and it's
you're making us all cry, Stephen. This isn't working. It's
not working. Yeah,
this whole comedy thing is.
Yeah, well, that's what comedy is. Comedy.
We rob your scooter.
Yeah. Comedy. Yeah, but comedy in a live space, and it's a really interesting dynamic. And I'm not a performing comic, i.e., I'm not going up on a stage every week, up and down, standing up, falling down, all that. And but I've worked for 25 years with some of the best comedians in the world, and I've watched them work in kind of unique circumstances where I've got a club that's like one night we're in Barcelona, the next we're in Madrid, and it's a very interesting dynamic because over 10 years I've had every kind of room. So they could be playing like a 100-seater tonight, and they could move out into a different seater. So you see how the dynamics is. But comedy is kind of essentially the same. It doesn't matter who's doing it, whether it's Michael McIntyre, whether it's Eddie Izzard, whether it's a young comic coming out of an open mic. The key to it is kind of building the tension in the room, and then allowing people, the crowd, the audience, the release. of laughter. So
Well,
that's
I mean, you coming on the scooter could be quite tense.
Rev it up.
I'm saying
It'd be like Michael Collins coming down the
you
castle.
gotta come down, man. So listen, you gotta come. You gotta.
Is there a dress code, Stephen?
Not particularly. Yeah, walking frames. You know.
I suppose I better not wear a skirt anyway on this rack seating.
There you
Stephen, can I just I wanted to go over just very, very briefly. I just want to say Marcel had a great idea for a book slot on the show, but I wanted to talk about that with Neil, because Neil is the producer, and Neil wants to tell us very badly what movies to watch this weekend if you were going to the cinema.
There you go.
Apparently.
Is he going to kick off now about the argument on Twitter? Is he?
No, his microphone seems to be dead. Neil?
Oh, you're right. Sorry, my microphone was on mute. I'm very horny for the movies this week, and I'm not being in any way
Between
sarcastic.
towels now and the movie.
Look, we're putting the sexiness in. We're putting the sexiness in the entertainment. Anyway, we've got lots of good stuff lined up this week. We actually don't. It's kind of shit this week. It's a bit kind of a mixed bag this week. But look, I'm just going to get the elephant in the room out of the way. Mamma Mia 2 is out. Fuck that. Go to that if you want to torture yourself, or if you're trying to get lucky, bring your partner along.
Which is
whatever.
the one? Which is out? Sorry, Neil.
Mamma Mia 2.
Oh,
Mamma Mia 2.
I could not resist it.
Sorry, I should call it Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
Neil.
Look, it's singing. It's Pierce Brosnan. It's Meryl Streep. You either like it or you don't. If you like it, fair play to you.
The first one?
It's entertainment.
If you like Vanessa, you'll like it.
Well, actually, I'm not a fan. I only liked the end of the first one. Do you remember at the end of the first one when the titles were coming up and they were all out the dancing and they were really giving it loads? That's the only part I really liked. And
Anyway, the next film.
No, but you know, at the wedding, then is it not Neil Buggy was the priest? Was fabulous performance. It was very short. It was almost a cameo, but that was a fabulous performance. I thought it was really charming and connected with the whole genre, really.
And Neil,
I don't know what happened at the Oscars. Yeah.
Stop it. It's an Oscar movie. Like it's a stop taking it. People need to stop taking movies so seriously.
Vanessa, this is the movie slot, and it's
he's going to come up with it now.
What are you calling Vanessa a movie slut for, John?
Neil does a lot of preparatory work for this.
I do.
He does.
I do. No amount of money is going to make me watch Mamma Mia 2. I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea. But look,
let's all do our favourite ABBA songs. Just to wind up, John.
Vanessa, please, Neil.
Vanessa, we're trying to be respectful here, Vanessa. Let's not throw smoke on or fuel on the fire. Anyway, Mamma Mia 2 is out. Go see it if you want to torture yourself. Another film that's out this week is called Madame. And it's got Harvey Keitel and Toni Collette in it, and they play wealthy Americans, as you do, and they move to Paris. And basically, there's a dinner party, and the madam has a maid step in to the party and pretend she's really rich, and then she falls in love with a really rich man, and you can just imagine what happens from there.
Is that only out this week?
That's out this week, and it's.
No, what?
Yeah, it doesn't get great reviews. But you know, Toni Collette is great, and Harvey Keitel's great.
Very good actress.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel is good, great actor, isn't
he? Yeah,
Harvey Keitel, he's a great actor. He's great.
It's a very unusual movie, actually.
Oh, have you seen it? Because you legally download, isn't it?
I got a screener.
You legally download.
I saw. I got
the Academy Centre screener.
They send them all out to us in December for voting.
So, how was
it? It's a very unusual movie, but it's a nice movie to watch. You know, it's not taxing. It's not you won't have to hang on every word. It's an interesting movie. It's great actors, and the fashion in it is fabulous.
Oh, and it's contemporary. It's set in now, is it?
Paris.
Yeah. It's set in Paris, and it's. I think it's modern.
Okay, so that's Mamma Mia.
That's
and
Madame.
Madame. Would Madame be a date movie or predominantly female movie? Or
I don't know what predominantly a female movie means. I don't think we're allowed to say that because it suggests that men can't enjoy Harvey Keitel.
Okay. Okay.
Pierce Brosnan.
Do you attribute
Chris Rock.
any decent movie to Harvey Keitel, Neil? I'm just curious.
Oh, Harvey's a great guy. He's done a lot of good stuff. Yeah. But you know, he's got bills to pay. I'm sure. No.
Well, between the ads and the, you know,
he does take.
Yeah, I mean, he has. When was the last big good movie he had? It was probably
I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's like it's a while.
But certainly the one that was in the public eye was probably the Grand Budapest Hotel. That was like a few years ago. But yeah, I'll have to.
Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction is a long time ago, but he.
Not a Tarantino fan. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
He casts very well, though. Tarantino casts his movie very well.
Extremely.
I find in a lot of Tarantino's films they lack character development, and there are a segment of his films that lack developed female characters. It just feels like a series of sketches written together without purpose.
And that's for me. That's Harvey Keitel. The cleaners sketch inside Pulp Fiction is the most unnecessary half hour of cinema in the entire thing. Isn't it?
Which sketch, Stephen?
Yeah, it's
the wolf.
He's called it the wolf. You know, the cleaner scene.
The wolf.
Ah, that's a brilliant scene.
Yeah, but it's a full. What does it bring to the entire thing?
Oh, I thought it was the funniest scene.
It just brings. It's just writing Harvey Keitel in. That's what it kind of looks.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. But do you remember him in Thelma and Louise? You were talking about female movies. Do you remember him in Thelma and Louise?
Yeah.
He was brilliant in that.
He has great moments. Do you know that?
Yeah, he matches a strong female lead actually very well.
Okay, so that's Mamma Mia 2, and it's sorry, what was the movie?
Madame. And then the other film that's out this week, which I'm going to give the movie of the week to, is Hotel Artemis. And this is a Jodie Foster film. Now, if you watch the trailer, it looks very like the original John Wick, but it's not really like John Wick. Okay. It's like LA, and like it's gangster, and this place exists where gangsters can go to get treated without being beaten up by other gangsters. Like so it's got funnily enough, it's got Jodie Foster, Sophia Boutella, and Dave Bautista in it, and it's pretty entertaining actually. I mean, it has it's kind of silly. It's you know, it's a popcorn movie, but it was entertaining, far more entertaining than Mamma Mia 2 if you're into that kind of thing.
Did you go to the screening, Neil?
Yeah, what happened was Jodie Foster called around to my house with a bootleg copy of hers because she couldn't find her screener
on VHS.
On VHS, on Betamax. She had it on Betamax.
You went to the screening.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Remember we Vanessa characterized it as 5 shabby guys.
No, Vanessa did not, John.
Oh no, I did. But apparently it's not. It's like it's quite glamorous now. That it's social influencers and.
Well, I wouldn't say it was glamorous now, but.
Well, it was glamorous when you walked in, Vanessa. That's what you're saying.
But these screenings now,
probably.
Neil.
Yeah, I mean, they just screen a movie, you watch it, and.
But no, the people who were at the movie prior to this, I think, it was just like you and the guy from the Herald asleep.
No, the screener I went to, well, it wasn't what you described. That's all I'd say.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
There's nothing sexy. They're just early morning movies with people from the media. That's all. But I do have some movie news. I do have some interesting movie news. So I think I mentioned last week that there's a Joker film being made with Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. Joaquin. So it's going to come out the end of next summer, autumn time next year, and it's confirmed it will just be called, very originally, just be called Joker. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, if it goes anywhere at all. A teaser trailer dropped today for a Godzilla sequel, Godzilla King of the Monsters. And it stars the lady the kid who plays 11 in Stranger Things. There's no Millie Bobby Brown, that's her name. There's no monsters or Godzilla in the trailer. It's literally just a teaser trailer, and it's a very bad teaser trailer as well because you can actually see the cameraman in the shot, which is very unprofessional.
You can see the cameraman in the
You can see the cameraman in the shot. But you know, that's nothing compared to when they dropped the early trailer for the Tom Cruise film The Mummy, that big flop, and they forgot to put some of the soundtracks to it. So it's the trailer's mostly in silence with a bit of Foley work and very awkward screams from Tom Cruise. I'll find it, and I'll find the original trailer, and you can put it up on the site again. It's very, very funny. But it's like, it seems like it was rushed, but yeah, you can clearly see the cameraman in the background enjoying the shot. So
that's hilarious.
Just goes to show. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's the movie. That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Neil. It's a boring summer movie-wise.
Hold
on a second. Whoa. Can I throw in there on the entertainment section?
Of course, Johnny.
Right.
I thought you were being activist this week, but you're.
Well, yeah, I've been an activist looking at some good shit online, like. Activist. What's his face? Sacha Cohen and Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah. Who is America? Did anyone see that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. They're really upset.
Come on. Like,
they just don't get it.
Satire, the power of comedy. Well, the way makeup has developed, I think Jason Bourne was one of the first ones to do it in relation to completely putting a new character on, and he's able to get away because there's 4 different characters. You definitely wouldn't recognize them, but it's very eerie in relation to how he was able to get very prominent American politicians and NRA to endorse 3-year-olds having guns. I don't think that was made up. Did I miss that? Did I? Or was that?
No, you did. No, you're right. You're right. Just John, and maybe this is a question for everyone. I don't know if anyone's watched the trailer, but just to throw an artistic hat on it, because he's very good at what he does. But I kind of got the feeling of maybe the ship has kind of sailed with this because we're so used to the Trump world. Nothing surprises us or shocks us anymore. So you kind of miss the endearing factor that kind of Borat and Ali G kind of had. But I felt that the characters he's playing, certainly in the 10-minute bit that I watched, the characters that he's playing are less. It's much less about them. Well, not that it was ever big about them, but they're kind of less. They're more just a poke to these people who are saying things that we're kind of well used to hearing them say. I don't know. Maybe that's coming out the wrong way, but I felt it didn't have the big impact that, say, Borat or Bruno or Ali G had.
I think it's as significant as Ali G was in the early 90s.
Astonishing.
Absolutely.
That 10 minutes.
I think
no one else can do that, what he does.
And
underneath the fabric of society, it's amazing what he does.
But I think it's because they're bought into Israel. It's so supportive of an Israel narrative, and so they buy into that character. The character is ridiculous. His walk is ridiculous. It's not even a well finished, well rounded character he's played, and yet it's apparently bought. And why is it bought? It's bought because of some kind of Israeli narrative that they're now accepting. Like Ali G did what he did. People bought into the guy from Staines who didn't know jack shit about anything, didn't know where an egg came from. And it's like, but somehow they're buying. How can they buy into this ridiculous? It's because it's over the top. It's worse than Borat. It's worse than all of them.
Yeah.
And this to
but
me,
they do. But see, Steve, what Ali G was about, what this is essentially about, is more about the people that's been interviewed than the interviewer.
Yeah, but it's about the possibility of that being possible.
Yeah, I mean, these people exist.
Can we come back to this just for a second? I just wanted to, just briefly, Marcel wanted to suggest...
Sorry, yeah.
Yes, no, not at all. Marcel wanted to suggest a book slot, similar presumably to Neil's movie slot.
Except only a book.
Not a rival, I hope. It's not going to be at the same...
Book and cinema can coexist, John. It's an artistic world we're trying to bring to the viewers. So.
But is a book show or a book slot like a show on its own where you give us all a book to read, or we recommend a book and we make
on a Friday.
Wednesdays are good for me, Marcel.
I can think of a couple of books I'd give to John now.
Let's get Marcel out.
Well, we could just start with
the Bible.
Oh, stop.
But Marcel,
sorry, Marcel.
You have to explain it. You pitched it to me.
I'm not inserting a Mein Kampf joke now. No, the thing is, maybe we could just start with go around the panel and introduce our favorite books before we move on to any reviews of new publications or anything. I think that might be interesting. So I'd be really interested to see what.
But this is in the future. This is not like we're not doing this tonight now, though. Are we?
No, we could. I have my favorite book.
Yeah,
I have mine here.
Oh, Jesus.
Strike the hammer while Darren's hot, John.
Okay, Marcel. Yeah, you put it up to us, you know.
Yeah, on the go, Marcel. Nice one.
Yeah, I would have thought a bit more German sort of organization, a bit more preparation.
Got it handy
Well,
here.
we can
Ready
do
to
it
go?
next week.
Lads, this is messing now.
This was orchestrated. Wait, hang on a sec though, Marcel. Do we have to wear shirts and ties for a book review? Because I feel we can wear what we want for a movie review, but for a book review,
Right,
we're not
no,
maybe
we
dressed.
should actually do that. You know, like that movie where all the ladies do 50 Shades of something. 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah, they that was in their book club. That's quite it's a kind of meta movie with some movie.
I think we should do a GA book and make you all read it.
Vanessa, I think we should listen to Marcel's proposal.
Yeah.
So to answer Neil's question, we should all make black turtleneck sweaters. So this is the first thing.
All right.
A little pipe.
Yeah.
So you
I have a cane.
Marcel, have you thought this out at all?
Of course he has. He's German.
Okay. So I've got loads of books here. So no. So I thought we could start with going on the panel, do like a 10-15 minute slot. Everyone has like a minute or two to pitch his book and say why he likes it or thinks it's the best book ever. And then if we all like it, then we can take it another step up and then maybe swap books like Vanessa suggested.
Okay. And
so that she's can be.
Okay. When we confine it then to non-fiction books, because we're doing something on the side with non-fiction books. You know, there's all these book clubs are fiction book clubs, aren't they? Really? And because Babushka's is memoirs.
Yeah.
Where, so we do a little non-fiction thing.
Yeah, all in.
How would that? Neil, you're the producer.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell you about all the non-fiction improv books that are going to blow your minds.
Neil, you don't feel that this is
going to be exciting.
you don't feel this is a rival slot to the movie slot? I mean, if you
I think that's what he's afraid of.
Not at all. Neil has no. That Neil
It's going to look like the dumbed down.
The book club,
if week one is behind the scenes of Mamma Mia, the book, then you can go stick your book review up your ass.
As long as you don't feel like Marcel is muscling in like Lebenstraum, he's looking for
the Anschluss.
German expansion.
Look, Besson, what's your favorite book, Marcel?
It's The Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald.
Why is that now? Because I'll have to read the book now for this slot.
The
Rings of Saturn.
No, but you pitch your favorite one. And Neil, I would be really interested in an improv book, to be honest.
I think I read the sequel, The Rings of Uranus, but I think Vanessa gave me a copy of that.
Joke of the year.
I think we need more tells. We need more tells.
Was that a sequel, John?
It was the ending.
Sorry.
It's Uranus, by the way. It's not Uranus. Everyone pronounces it wrong.
That's what I just said last night.
We're gone Kilkenny.
Marcel, would you be able to hold up?
We're going wrong, man.
The Rings of Saturn is a band. I've
Can
just
you-
Googled them there.
Yeah, it's true. I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Marcel, if you
From
speak,
another planet.
Marcel, if you speak, it'll show up the cover. If
sorry,
you show up the cover
sorry.
and say something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is
So The Rings of
one
Saturn.
of my favorite books. Yes, The Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald.
And it's definitely non-fiction.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's so I took many cues from Babushka from there. So it's a mix of everything.
Well, you plagiarized. Is that what you're saying? You
Of course.
plagiarized the Rings.
Yeah, but
Neil is fighting the corner. Neil is fighting the corner here.
Okay, I'll read that
Mamma
one.
Mia.
And hello to Olga Cronin from
Hey, Olga.
Hey everyone.
Oh, okay.
Full house.
fresh from a shift or weary from a shift.
He's landed a big joke, Olga. Yeah, you missed it.
He was thinking of ending the show. He's actually thinking of ending the show right now.
He's got to go out in a high.
I'm going to quit now. Actually, in fact, no, I do need to go to sort of bathroom, and I'm then going to do the papers, Olga.
Is it of all the rings of Uranus? You're going in for a quick read.
Perhaps Olga, you can tell us what you're going to say on Saturday at the Bernard.
John.
No, sell out, Olga. Sell out.
Oh yeah, you sold out.
Did I?
Literally, the tickets are sold out for the.
Oh yeah, I know, amazing, isn't it?
And you're gone online now.
They have.
The whole world is going to watch you.
Oh,
The markup is horrendous though. Like
don't forget us, Olga. Don't forget us.
Remember where you started, Olga.
Your online technique.
Don't forget your roots.
You'd be on Marion Finucane and you'd be like, well, the Irish water isn't free, you know. We have to. You know, I've given this a lot of thought, actually.
John's in a weird mood again.
What?
Fionnuala on. Fionnuala was on. I missed her, didn't I?
Yeah, she was lovely.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Vanessa, I'm not too sure if you can just take a look in the mosh pit.
Yeah. Shayna has visited the mosh pit this evening.
And is Shayna gone?
What she said earlier on, she's watching something in RTE. I think it has something to do with the trial.
Yeah.
So she's kind of her eye is elsewhere. But it's very quiet in the mosh pit this evening.
Oh, okay. Well, she mentioned that there was a documentary tonight on the Ulster. You know, Shayna was the person at the Ulster rape trial, and
tonight.
Yeah, and she was commenting on the site, not about the trial, but not about what they had discussed anyway. But so she got a call from the Attorney General's office in New York, in Northern Ireland, on foot of not a complaint, but a query from the Irish Times, and she still hasn't heard back from them. So I don't know if she's still in the chat pit, but if she.
Well, she's just said her favourite book is On the Road, and I know that's a Kerouac movie.
I was just going to say that.
Really?
Yeah, but
that's your favourite book.
Yeah, but it's not. What do you call it?
It is not. It is. It is
not real.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's fiction, but depends on what kind of tea you're having, if you know what I mean.
Oh, jeez.
What? Do you read the book like? It's a class book. It's a coming of age book.
You have to read it.
It's a male coming of age book.
It is. You read it when you're like 15, 16.
It was written by Jack Kerouac. So, you know, as opposed to Adrian Mole, which was really good as well, but it was written by a female, so it doesn't have the same impact.
Oh, so sure.
Yeah. But similar, you're right though, Johnny. Similar themes. You know.
Sorry, Shayna just says. Sorry, you don't mind there. Shayna's just posted. John, I'm okay. So she's obviously cool, in great shape, and.
Well, she was worried that the documentary might sort of go into all that sort of stuff, but I assume it hasn't. I guess it hasn't.
Well, I haven't seen it, but she's just posted there. I'm okay, so I just thought I should.
Big hello to Shayna, and a big hello to anybody in the mosh pit.
Shayna, good woman.
Just be careful in the mosh pit. There's no rules as such in the mosh pit.
There was no mention of her anyway in RT. She's just thrown another post in there. So there was no mention of her in the documentary.
Oh, well, yeah, that was her concern, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and just
perhaps Shayna would like to become the foreperson of the chat of the chat pit.
Well,
she can.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, I sent the link.
Another Broadsheet exclusive.
I sent the link to Dermot Bowen, but Dermot didn't get back to me this evening. But I think with the heat wave, people are acting very oddly, right?
Sorry, who's Dermot Bowen?
Like nobody's following through on anything they're saying at the moment. Have you noticed that?
What do you mean?
I don't know what you're saying.
But
John, who's Dermot Bowen?
Dermot. How you forget? He was on the show last
He's on
week.
the show.
Oh, the Weatherman?
No.
The Weatherman, no. He's the guy with Mission Control. He's the
man, technology dude. He's brilliant.
Oh, the guy from the chat pit. I didn't know his surname.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we plucked him from obscurity in the chat pit, in the mosh pit.
Yeah, I just knew him as Dermot. Sorry, folks.
It's now gone to his head because he hasn't been in touch for
And he might be on holidays. Like, sorry, Dermot, if you're watching this on playback, I only knew he is Dermot. I didn't know he was.
That's okay. Well, he just demanded it, a bit like Marcel. He demanded his own slot, and there was words.
Give it to him.
Anyway, sorry. Back to words.
I haven't demanded any slot, and I haven't been offered one either. So.
Marcel, tell me more
Vanessa.
about
Now, Vanessa.
Marcel, could you go into more detail about your slot?
So
The slot and Jalga shift.
Boom.
I tell you,
So
it's all happening here, folks.
my pitch is, so next week on the show, we dedicate 10 to 50 minutes to the panel and each particular non-fiction book, if there is such a thing, and tells us in 3 to 4 sentences why it is his favorite book, his or her favorite book.
Okay, and then beyond that, where do we go with that? With the idea, Marcel?
I think we have to read more books.
Oh,
Book club.
This is the point.
okay, but out of that, we'll argue our case for each book, for the book, and then whoever wins, and who will
Second,
decide?
then we have a book of the week, and then
Okay, who decides then from, say, like Stephen suggests a book, Vanessa, Algib suggests a book, Neil suggests a book, Johnny, I suggest a book, you suggest a book. Who decides then of which book that we decide to read of that lot?
the mosh pit.
I beg your pardon?
The chaplet.
The chap at the mosh pit, exactly. Okay, so we do that for next week.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And
Oh, geez, I better read a book, so I'll find out which one we're going to talk about.
Nice one, Marcel.
E-books.
and then the mosh pit's vote is final. And do we take a week to read that then ourselves? Are we given a week?
Can we use
Yeah.
Audible?
But if we know the book already, we don't have to read it. So I'm going to Twitter next week.
I need to find a book, so.
Okay.
Come here. Is the
yeah, I see. If
RT
you,
guide? Is the RT guide hardback edition? Is that considered now?
that doesn't get used
Well,
to count, but not
Well,
anymore.
if you're a man for speaking out loud in public, if you argue your case well, then maybe the RTE guide becomes the book of the week.
That's going to be it.
Stop.
Well,
It's a comic.
okay, Marcel. Well,
Neil is undermining this. I can see that.
Marcel, do you want to? Marcel, where would you like it to appear on the show? Do you want it to go ahead of Neil's slot, movie slot?
At the top.
At the top before the show starts.
Well, the Equalizer is breaking next week, so you might
I'm-
nobody stand a chance.
I'm the new kid. I'm the new kid. I have to go on before Neil. That's settled.
Okay.
Well, it's a bit like the
Do we just name the show book slot on the telly?
Well, certainly in the winter, I think it's a brilliant idea, Marcel, because
Yeah.
In the winter. John reads it.
no, but
No one reads books in the summer.
no, we could have the chat and. No, I think it's a very good idea.
Glad we got the chat.
Marcel, I'm going to say something controversial. You're going to hate this because it rules out your choice of non-fiction book. If we confine it to Irish non-fiction.
Fair enough.
Ooh, okay.
I already know what I'm pitching. That's simple.
Family plot.
I would
wait till
too,
next
but-
week. Wait till next week to pitch it. Don't pitch it yet, because other people might take that idea.
Yeah.
They might not have one themselves. They might not have an idea.
I'm not sure I
There
do.
you go.
Okay.
Does Peg count?
Well, that was my tip.
What? I don't have many, So
John will blame me now for this going all off the tracks, lads.
I like it. I really do like it. I prefer it to the movie slot already.
Neil.
Does it have to be Irish books though? Because Jesus, if we have to read another book about politicians or bank scandals,
Well,
Or truth.
Neil, I got a suggestion for you, Neil. If you just have a look, so we've got the pocket book of the Common Birds of Ireland.
that's
No,
brilliant.
I'm interested.
Yeah,
what
That's
kind of, when you say common birds of Ireland now, there's a very broad scope there,
what are
Marcel.
we talking about?
Copperface Jack's the musical.
Yeah.
No.
Next
Marcel,
up is Sharon.
That's brilliant. Because it can be reference books as well. Like the Hibernia.
I like that one, man. I've been waiting to get that book. And looking at all sorts of different birds, man, around the place and going, who are those guys, What did they do?
What are they saying?
You're getting very Tommy Tiernan in your stem cell.
Delirium, and I take that
quite whimsical.
I take that as a complete insult, John. You know,
Oh,
but,
sorry.
but it is taken on board.
I couldn't think of the guys who stares at lakes. What's his name? What's his name?
Oh,
Olga's searching.
so the Irish. You're talking about the Irish Times writer.
Yeah, the guy who's the Irish Times who stares at lakes.
John? No. What's his first?
Whimsical. He's a whimsical anecdotalist. Anyway.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Former priest, is he?
Yes.
From Cavan.
Is he the fallen priest?
Former priest, John. I don't think any priest is former.
Sorry,
Johnny.
beg your pardon.
Sorry, Johnny. Were you in an accident?
Johnny.
Johnny.
I think John. I think
Break
John
your glasses.
Was I in an accident?
No, I'm talking.
Yeah, no, I didn't break my glasses. They just kind of broke on me, Vanessa.
Okay.
I went down to Specsavers twice, and I said, "Listen, I've got this problem with my glasses. It's not tight enough on one side." And rather than saying no, they couldn't do it, I just went in and fixed it. So I went down the following day, and I said, "Sorry, I was talking to a woman this time." I says, "I need to get my glasses fixed." And she went in, and I says, "The same thing happened yesterday." And your man was looking at me. The guy says, "I fixed those for you yesterday, you prick." That's what he was saying. That's what I felt he was saying. But anyway, she went in. I says, "This is what happened yesterday." I said, "There's something wrong with the spring." He says, "Yeah, I know. I don't know what we can do about that." So that's just basically customer service in Ireland 2018. I envisaged that it could have been a problem, considering that I was going to a festival, right, John? So I'm wearing my glasses, and
hang on, Johnny.
I fall asleep with my glasses on, and I wake up. I've only
at the festival.
I've only one handle on.
I've only just noticed that, Johnny.
I know it's kind of a fashion accessory. If I had this one gone, I could be like Cobalt. I could be very informative. If I was wearing a dicky bow, I could walk into Trinity. I don't know.
Johnny,
apparently, I'm half mad because I've only one hand on this.
Johnny, I love the phrase, Johnny. One eye looking for you, and one eye looking at you.
Johnny, can you please do a profile so we can see the full?
Is it most important? Okay, right. That's obviously my good side.
That's your good side.
Where's Johnny?
And
oh my God, it's a different fella.
And good spot, Vanessa. Good spot, Vanessa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So Johnny. I'm open to ethical sponsors of a new pair of glasses because I could maybe make them sunny as well.
There's a GoFundMe page.
Yellow tint.
We have a GoFundMe.
It's not just GoFundMe, but it's a shocking disability being blind, and I'm not making light of anyone else, but when you need your eyeglasses and shit happens, and they're very expensive to replace.
I think though, you know what you're wearing there, that's like it's the new. That's new. That's like it's hipster monocle.
I am Vogue, John. I am Vogue.
Meets.
We know this. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, I'll get Cronin.
There's the laughing stock section out of the way. Yeah,
Olga, I wanted to talk about
Johnny, I didn't mean to do that. I just
sure, that's right. At least I can see you laughing at me, Vanessa. That's the most important thing.
Johnny,
that's the tension now. You have to give us the laugh.
All right, sorry, Jesus Christ. The last thing I want to be doing is bringing up tension,
Olga, I'm going to do the papers. So I'm going to.
They're up actually.
Are they?
Yeah, they're up.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I can't have a cigarette. I'm joking, but I do need to go to the bathroom. I'll go.
Walk away, John. It's not an RT studio.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil.
What the fuck?
Could you coordinate with Neil the displaying of the covers for the viewers and the mosh pit, of course?
Yes.
John, throw me over the control room, and I'll do
of course. Okay, and I should be back in about 3 minutes.
No, number one or number two?
After you put some makeup on these red patches. What's the story?
He's in for
He's probably in the sun. Stop it. We're getting very past remarkable lately, aren't we?
Vanessa, no, I'm just
Oh,
thinking.
look at the lovely cat.
Icelandic sun is a lot different than the Irish one. That's what I'm thinking. Sorry, Olga. Beg your pardon.
No, not at all. Don't be daft.
It's a lovely hat.
It's a
I'd
lovely
love
hat.
that. I could wear that to your show. That's lovely.
How about that?
I'd wear that.
Yeah, just to piss off everyone in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th row.
That's savage. Did she win the best dressed lady with that?
It doesn't say. It just the caption says it's Niamh Kenny from Listowel and Kerry, and it's just Ladies' Day in Killarney, but it doesn't say she won. So I don't know.
It's a fabulous race course there. Actually, look at the view there, the mountains.
The mountains.
Fabulous. One of my favorites.
You go racing a lot, Vanessa?
Not that much anymore, but actually I do have some jockeys as clients, so I kind of get dragged into that scene.
Gambling.
I'm not saying anything.
You're a horse enthusiast.
Mm.
I'm not asking anymore. I'm not interjecting anymore.
Sorry, I don't really talk about my,
Okay. Celebrity.
Shall I go through them, or what do you think?
There's that Miller story is interesting. About the park. I suppose in one way, as Cork people, it's a bit disappointing, but I
suppose just to maybe explain. So
rule,
yeah. So basically, Liam. So Páirc Uí Chaoimh had this massive revamp, and it was cost something like 80 million, I think, and it got 30 million from EU funding. And apparently it was granted on the basis that that the stadium would be open to various users on a non-discriminatory and transparent basis. And Liam Miller he died earlier this year, age 36. It was cancer, wasn't it, Vanessa?
It was so quick, and he was so young.
Family, well, no.
Sorry, what was that?
Young family.
Very young, very young. He's very highly thought of, actually, that family. It's quite.
Sorry, Vanessa, I didn't want to cut across you.
It's just very. It's annoying in a way. They can't do it in the park. It's kicked off.
So just to maybe explain. So there's a match that's being held, and it's like a tribute match to him, right? And basically, they apparently had asked if they could have it in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, but GAA headquarters said no. And the Páirc Uí Chaoimh can hold 45,000 people, but it was turned down, even though this money was given on the basis that it would be open to other sports. So instead, it's taking place in Turner's Cross, which is a 7,000-seater venue, and the tickets are on sale tomorrow morning. But it just says, so the piece anyway, it's by Joe Logue, and basically he's reporting that in May 2014, the government announced that it would provide a 30 million grant towards the redevelopment of Páirc Uí Chaoimh, only for the European Commission to subsequently declare that it was to investigate whether the funding violated state aid rules. And in July 2016, the Commission issued an 11-page decision in which it gave the opinion that it did not consider that the 30 million grant amounted to legal state aid, but it also noted that the stadium could be rented out to other field sports, and under the terms and conditions for the use of the stadium, Páirc Uí Chaoimh will be open to various users, like I said, on a non-discriminatory and transparent basis. But apparently,
Cork County Board.
Cork County Board said no. So,
but I think they have to wait for Congress to kind of vote on it.
They do, yeah, they do.
So I think it's kind of out of. There's a few different parties involved here, no? There's like the stadium, the government,
It says this.
They're saying that they're using Congress as an excuse, but the Cork County Board ultimately owned that property anyway.
Yeah.
So decision. So it's disappointing. There's this hoo-ha about it. It should be down the park. There's no doubt about it. Because as far as I remember, I think Liam played minor as well for Cork. So
he did, yeah.
Because it says, it's just to say, Vanessa, it says here the Cork County Board Chairwoman Tracy Kennedy, she said she was receptive to the idea, but that neither Croke Park nor the GAA Central Council could give it the go-ahead, as, and the quote is, it would require permission from Congress, and that does not take place until next February. So,
yeah, it would need permission from Congress. There's nothing to do with Croke Park. It would be Congress.
It
But
seems to have
I
had no
do-
lead in.
Yeah, I think Stephen is right there. Because the property is owned by the Cork County Board.
Mm.
I think they should have just done it and then go and face the rubbish at Congress about how they broke the rule. That's the way I would have done it anyway.
But it has a very strange lead-in time. It just appeared, this story, and then
Roy Keane, I
Roy
think,
Keane is down in
had his
Cork, and
fingerprints on it.
it's like it was never planned or something, and surely it should have came up before that there was going to be an issue, but it all seems to happen in 1 week. Very odd.
Silly season.
Well, there's that as well. And
I
also,
don't know what you're talking about, but sorry.
it's just when the Park missed a few games last year because their opening was delayed, and you think they'd want more games in there. Anyway,
What's Roy King got to do with the GA? Sorry to
no,
be.
but he's playing in this. He's playing in this
Tribute.
for Liam, and
Raise
he's
funds.
entitled to say something because he is the most famous soccer player from Cork.
Oh yeah.
You know, and he does have a voice, and people do listen to him, and he's quite right to say what he feels like. I am disappointed. If it were me, I would have just gone and done it, and then face all the bitching at Congress.
And Liam Miller was a hurler. He played hurling.
He did.
And so that's
Great club, man.
So he has a GA background in Cork, and but I don't understand. I really don't understand why this just appears a week before, and suddenly it's something that cannot be decided anyway until next January. I mean, that just
well, Johnny just said it. It's silly season.
Well, I don't really understand what silly season is. If it's
I didn't think to fill the headlines, Steve, because
maybe it just wasn't. It hadn't been. Maybe it hadn't been said that the family, or that it had been, the request had been made, and.
But it comes with Roy King and Roy Keane and bells on, in the space of a week, and you go, like who, and they're giving out Roy doing what he does, but why did it not come up before? It's a joke that because the guy,
Can I ask you a question, Vanessa? When did Alf Stewart from Home and Away play Cork for Cork GA?
Never.
Did you what?
Never. What's this? Is this a
Flaming Gala?
Yeah, Flaming Gala.
Flaming Gala. Neil, I sent
guy
you
in the shop?
I sent you a photograph that went up on the site, and there was.
Did you send me a photograph?
No, I sent a photograph that Neil, just to Neil there, he can share with everybody.
Oh, this is the graffiti.
It's a mural down in Cork of Al Stewart when he was playing, I think, hurling for Cork seniors.
Al Stewart. Who's Al Stewart?
He owns the shop.
Neil, can you?
You're Flaming Gala.
Oh, look.
Look at that.
Is that him?
He was visiting for some bullshit.
Like Putin.
No, who's the actual hurler that's memorializing? Because it does look like Al Stewart, right?
It definitely is.
Probably,
Christy Ring.
if you look at the collar, it's Christy Ring.
So it's Christy Ring.
If you look at the hairdo, it could be something else. That was when the comb over was king. Christy Ring is king.
Hang on. Sorry.
I think they're probably trying to capture Christy Ring in that.
He's pure Al Stewart, John. Spot on, man. That's 2 in a row for you, John.
This is where
to go to the toilet again, John.
Yeah, but I mean,
you got a joke book in there or something. Something's going on.
It's the Ring of Saturn.
The
Ring of Saturn.
Well,
Christy Ring.
I played against his daughter Mary Ring, and she's probably the greatest hurler I've ever seen play. She was just incredible.
Wow. We're playing Camogie.
Yeah, she was an incredible player. She's the finest player I've ever seen.
How about that?
But I was just thinking, like you have Rena Buckley, who I featured on the backdrop a while back with 17 All-Ireland medals. Fucking paint her.
Does she
this
look
is the
like
thing, you're talking about the need for gender quotas.
Yeah, but like, just
Look
hold
at
on a second. Like, we have to be disrespectful to Christy Ring. We've already called him Al Stewart. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
put up Christy Ring there. It's absolutely got nothing to do with him being over a woman. It's because Christy Ring is the best hurler that ever picked up a hurl.
But you don't know that. You don't know that because you never saw
I've heard all the stories. I've heard all the stories. From
You don't know the
But
daughter.
you see, I form my own opinion. I form my opinion
better
on.
than Christy. That's what Vanessa. You're saying the daughter is better than Christy.
No, but I actually never really saw Christy Ring play live. Like, I would have been very young.
But you know, Vanessa, one of the best things about GA is that they regale all these great hurlers.
No,
there's no footage of Christy Ring, thanks to RT and the sports department.
There is footage. There is.
It's very limited.
Black and white.
He's right. Sorry, Stephen.
Very limited black and white footage.
No, there is.
There's very limited footage.
No, there is. There's good colour stuff because he was in Neighbours before Home and Away.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
That's sacrilege, man.
Does Mary Ring look like anybody, like anyone of Al's family?
If you know anything about Al Stewart, you know he did his best work when at Prisoner Cell Block H.
Yeah. Well, they all did. Yeah, that was Shakespearean stuff.
Your man in the picture looks like Jeffrey Tambor as well.
Oh yeah,
the actor.
Yeah, the entertainment. Marcel, is there a writer in that that image from Cork?
It might be
likeness.
Patrick Kavanagh. You never know.
He'd have come over too, would he?
Yeah, he did.
Well, I'd love if they stopped this political corking. I'd love if it said, "Welcome to Cork, home of the Dixies."
Home of the Dixies.
Yeah, well, we've been through that now. We can't do that. You can't say that anymore.
But like,
there's actually a painting of like Roy Keane on one of those.
You can't say Dixie anymore.
Why not?
It's provocative. It's provocative.
Yeah, this is like this.
You just say country music.
You're angry. You're annoying people.
Or you can't fly the Dixie flag either.
We can't. No.
You call it the penis flag.
You can't watch Dukes of Hazzard reruns. It's a rule, and
No, but
it's not a rule.
Can I ask Vanessa this in relation to GA etiquette of 2018? I know the Palestinian flag has been not allowed being flown. I haven't been at any Cork games, but they're kind of used to wearing the Confederate flag and the stars and bars. Have they been doing it this year?
I haven't seen it.
I think so.
I haven't seen it.
Have you worn your Confederate bikini? I understand that. Oh no, that wasn't you. Sorry, Vanessa. I beg your pardon. I'm mixing you up. Go on.
Marcel.
No, I haven't seen the stars and bars. I don't even remember seeing them last year, truthfully.
Palestinian flags all over the hill.
But the Cork crowd always had whatever was red and white, they flew it. Between the Japanese flag or the Swedish flag. But if it was red and white, they flew it. I remember there's actually photographs of myself and a lady who's now dead sewing up a flag for my brother in the back garden. And it was huge. And I remember some story come back saying that there's about 6 of them slept under the flag on O'Connell Bridge. They missed the train. They must have missed the mail train or something. But it was huge. Like, it's a massive joke.
Vanessa,
that was when we had hot summers days.
Vanessa, in your kind of younger years, GAE years, would you have gone to Copperface Jacks? And are you interested in going to the musical?
Me and Coppers. I'm not going to mention. I was more of a Bad Bobs.
Yeah,
Bad Bobs. There you go. There's a blast.
Yeah, I had you done as a line dancer.
Well, this is what really upset me about the Bear Festival. There was dancing.
Yeah, dancing with Declan.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. But John, you're the one that took the dancing lessons. I think you're the showman, really.
I did.
I think we should see. I think
line dancing lessons and break for the border there. FYI, a little bit of trivia.
I think we could probably do a weekly dance slot hosted by John, where everyone on the panel has to pick their favorite dance.
Before the book club, and then
saying it's the new one, but it would have to be before.
This is like turning into a station now. We have the books.
We need a female slot. Vanessa was proposed earlier.
For my female slot.
Yeah.
I hear. See, just because
John, you
you're
No direction that's taken, Vanessa. Jesus.
You don't get a free pass.
You don't get a free pass. I need Marcel to send me a copy of what is it? The Rings of Fire or Rings of Saturn before Saturday till I get to work. Whatever magic is.
I'm not allowed because it's not an Irish author.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So it has to be an Irish writer. Is that right?
Oh, John, we're all Europeans now.
Sorry, can I get the homework right? Is it? It's a non-fiction Irish book, Irish writer.
So I'd say to go with John Guyton's either Irish writer or Irish publisher.
Irish writer,
Irish publisher. That's broadened it even further.
Irish writer, Irish public. Well, I mean,
So I could talk about Doreen Allen's cookbook then.
You're a publisher, no?
Well, no. Well, I mean,
no.
That
is a tough question.
Now I know what John's going to pitch, and it looks like Ireland.
Well, the Bird book is a great idea.
I think so too. You know,
it's brilliant.
Kind of we can all learn together and go out and spot, and somebody can maybe bring in a sample into the program.
Little pet corner. Can we, Neil, would it be possible? I know I was detained, but you've had a look at the Examiner or the Times.
The Times wasn't up there. Let me just check if the Times is there now.
Yeah, I've just added it. Yeah.
Oh God, it's come in. That's the Times Ireland edition. Oh, do you?
It's a rough cover.
Blimey.
No deal Brexit. Dum dum dum.
Okay, now this is Prince Charles is up just right up the top. He's to give evidence at the child sex abuse inquiry. The details of this particular one, I didn't know the bishop was a paedophile. Prince Charles protests.
What bishop?
Shall I read it out?
Please.
I'm just trying to get it. Sorry.
Well, while you're doing that, Theresa May and Arlene Foster on the cover. No deal Brexit would hit Irish hardest warns IMF. And Trump plans some.
Arlene looks weird.
Who looks weird?
Arlene.
Tense.
You don't normally see her in black either.
The top story there, John.
Yeah.
The Prince of Wales maintained a close friendship with the disgraced bishop because he did not understand that the clergyman's caution for gross indecency involved in admission of guilt, he has told a public inquiry. Prince Charles said that he maintained contact with Peter Ball for more than 20 years until his conviction in 2015 for sexually abusing more than a dozen victims. Ball had to resign his ministry in 1993 after a police investigation into his abuse of boys and young men led to him accepting a caution. The written statement to the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, which has been seen by the Times, is described as a draft. It will be made public next week. Prince, who gave the statement voluntarily, said he had decades of correspondence with the bishop and occasionally sent him small gifts of money, as I do for many people in need. Ball was invited to give communion at Highgrove, the Prince's home, preached at the funeral of Bruce Shand, the Duchess of Cornwall's father, in 2006, and lived in a Duchy of Cornwall property from 1997 to 2011. Yeah.
So I would have thought, yeah. I don't think he knows anybody who isn't an abuser. I mean, everybody's not.
3 in a row, John. 3 in a row. Excellent. Well
done. So the no deal Brexit would hit Irish hardest, warns IMF.
It is a dark looking picture, huh? The two of them. I mean, look at the composition on that thing in the face. Yeah. I mean, they're.
The caption is "Ladies not for turning."
Oh my God, this is
what is the caption?
The caption kicker is "Ladies not for turning." Theresa May visits Belique Pottery in County Fermanagh with Arlene Foster, the DUP leader, as she begins 2 days of consultations on birds.
Oh, I see. That was up the north. Well, it looks like an extremely fun trip.
It's a weird picture.
If you ended up in Belique, I don't think everything would be rosy, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, Belique Pottery sounds...
Well, I mean, Theresa May...
It's not in the USP, is it? Like, you know?
I mean, I've been to Arklow Pottery. That was fun, but do we have to go...
Belique is more delicate.
Well, Theresa May is current, she's Prime Minister and she's actually acting. in a government. Arlene is actually doing nothing.
Well, she's propping up Theresa May's government.
Well, she's not actually. The party she's a member of and is currently leading, those elected members are.
Okay.
Arlene isn't a member of Westminster.
Okay, you want to be pedantic about it?
No, but I'm just saying, like, someone is.
Is she not a member of Is she not a member of Parliament?
No.
Really? Did
No.
not know that.
She's leader of the party who are proper. Anyway, okay, we won't go there. But there's no papers then, is that right? Olga?
We just have
The Irish Sun. The Irish Sun is there.
Sun, yeah, sorry, the Sun is there. So that is on. It's about a guard who, a conviction of a woman who, so I thought I was dead as she sped off. A brave cop, a story by Stephen Breen. A brave cop told a court yesterday how he expected to die when a drugged-up woman sped off as he held onto her car. Christina Joyce, 30, was jailed for assaulting Garda Thomas Gallagher, 39, in Dublin in April. He said, "I thought there was no way I wouldn't be killed." So that's that.
Okay.
And that's Glenda Gilson there, pregnant.
Jesus Christ.
It's Glenda Bump exposed. Glenda Bump exposed, and up there, Yankee Doodle Daniel. What's that? Is it?
Couples USA trip in wee RV. So
that'll be you and me now in a few years.
Okay. It's all that to look forward to.
Yeah.
And sorry, Olga and Neil, just because you're coordinating the papers, there are no other Irish papers, or there's no other papers then as such?
We have all the British, the British ones there, The Guardian.
Would they be covering Theresa May's visit to Northern Ireland?
Presumably will be, but they're not on the outside. Sorry, they're not on the cover, so possibly inside.
Any more pottery pictures? I quite like that one.
No, there doesn't need to be any more. So
anyway,
there's very little on the Cliff Richard. Just the Examiner has that bit in the front.
Yeah.
I suppose that was yesterday.
So Olga, just in terms of that I mentioned that was mentioned in the post that we would go through some disclosures tribunal loose ends, and you've been doing some pieces on the media module that even fewer people seem to be reading those pieces.
They're there when people want to come back and read them.
But they are very, very interesting, very absorbing because, and you can kind of see the certainly just see how. I think it's a false mystery at this stage. We know kind of what happened to Maurice McCabe, but to see how it happened is really quite interesting.
It is, yeah, and I suppose, yeah, like it's long pieces like that are not everyone's cup of tea, and but they are very insightful, and it kind of shows how media kind of works, is used, perhaps unbeknownst to them, So,
well, I think for us, like we've been doing the site for 8 years or whatever, and 8 years next week, in fact, and what happened at the Disclosure Tribunal is something that we could probably sort of see coming, couldn't we, a bit, Olga, in terms of doing the Fitzgerald story and even the Mission to Praise stuff around the weirdness around that. You could see what was coming down the tracks.
Absolutely.
There was on warranted influence in newsrooms by certain people.
Institutions.
And and individuals representing institutions. But
sorry.
Just on the pieces that, if you're watching this after we broadcast stream, the pieces are Maurice McCabe in RT, Maurice McCabe in Irish Times, Maurice McCabe in INM, Maurice McCabe in the Irish Examiner, Maurice McCabe and
INM too.
And they're very, very long pieces, but if you want to understand what Maurice was up against, they're really well worth a read. Sorry, Vanessa. You were saying something, Vanessa, did you?
No, sorry.
They're gone shy.
Yeah.
No, I didn't time to say anything.
No, I thought I'd interrupt. Sorry, Olga. You go on, Karen.
No, I was just going to say, just when you were mentioning it there, because it's interesting to look back. Like, it's interesting to look back at the papers at the time of, let's say, January 2014, when, you know, the whole PAC meetings the PAC meetings were taking place, where Martin Callan went before the PAC and then Morris went before the PAC, and everything that was being reported at the time, and how stuff was being reported. It's just knowing what we know now and having gone through the tribunal, it is really interesting to look back and see what was being reported and the focus that was being, or where the focus was, and where what the larger reports focused on, and like I said, and it's tricky because there are some things that we know from the tribunal that weren't put into the record, and we mentioned this last week about after Martin Callan made his disgusting remark. We know how the PR around him tried to diffuse that and deflect his comment by wanting him to go on RTE Sean O'Rourke and discuss a particular matter.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you go back now and you look at the reports on that same matter, because it was purposely put to him, this is a means to get off this topic.
Yeah.
So to look back and see how that actual topic was reported on, it's really interesting.
And
because you wonder,
by the same journalists
same topic,
who were up before Charlton, and and the topics that Michael Linden was suggesting were then featured prominently that weekend. It's very interesting, you know. It
is really interesting, and to be fair, there was, you know, it could be argued that there was a genuine reason for it. It's just that it's just because of that email that was sent to him about Sean O'Rourke, it makes it very, very curious.
I mean, this is non-conspiratorial stuff.
No, not at all. No.
I mean, well, it's actually not, because McLendon is suggesting this, so that it was obviously being pushed. That was the, not the spin, but certainly the steer or whatever.
Steer, yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, that's what was in the subject line. Positive news. I mean, it was as evident. This is how we move on. This is how we get off this topic and move on to this one.
Yeah, and we use this particularly sensitive subject to anyway. So what else is left? It was the Morris McCabe and the Irish Examiner today. You did the Mail yesterday. We had the INN stuff, and tomorrow the Irish Examiner Part 2, and then on Monday the Irish Daily Star, Mirror, and Sun.
The Sun, yeah.
And then the TUSLA module.
Go back to TUSLA, yeah.
Go back to TUSLA and 72 hours to TUSLA. So Tuesday then will be
non-stop.
Yeah, and then
non-stop, yeah.
But really.
And meanwhile, tumbleweed.
Meanwhile, it's the tumbleweed times, or exclusive 7,000 words that you'll never read on. But no, I think it's interesting, particularly in summer. You know, if you've got like a weekend, and I mean, once you get into them, they're very, very absorbing.
They are,
aren't they?
But no, and they're very well written, actually. They're written like articles rather than, you remember the timelines you were doing, guys?
Yeah. They were a bit more.
These are more articles, I think.
Yeah.
But that's not meant to say the timelines weren't great or anything like that, but
they're very rigid, though.
Yeah. So they are very readable. And for me, I think it's been the most disappointing module. And this reporting, I think. I thought my eyes were open before, but it's been really categorized now for me, the whole shambles that whole media scene is, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really that we can kind of to add to those pieces. That's really the thing, isn't it? There's nothing really to add. They seem to be caught. I mean, and basically, there's.
You done it, lads. 8th birthday next week. Happy birthday! As you said, John, you've been covering this for 8 years, and the rest of the mainstream and the tribunal was happening, and now the aftermath is you're putting into nice, digestible pieces. I'm not reading it for the reason that I was there as well when I seen all this corruption going on, and we did about 50 shows where we covered most of that. And when Olga happened to be in the tribunal, you know, I'd say it was easy enough to write because, you know, it wasn't surprising for an awful lot of people. And unfortunately, an awful lot of people aren't getting the right information, but it's been gathered. So it's there, and it's been done, and we can't go back from here in relation to how these people have been exposed, which is essentially the whole establishment. And everyone is has to keep their head down for a while, except the alternative media like Broadsheet.
I think broadsheeters in general have to kind of stop laughing at Bodger for, you know, saying on this, because he has the whole thing has been absolutely exposed, and the way those
Bodger got a nasty email yesterday from one of the subjects of these articles.
Oh, okay.
We won't discuss who it was, but poor
You
Bodger.
can tell us later. But the
You're better
text,
job than I thought so.
that sequence of threads, you know, with the, you know, Morris McCabe and INM Part 1, Part 2, Irish Times Part 1, Part 2. There's been a texture to it that I think that has completed everybody's understanding at this stage, really.
Yeah, if you read them, yeah.
But the problem is, the thing is that, like, John, you know, I think we'd say that it's not like it's extremely difficult work, you know, it's just a lot of time, right, and reading and putting it together. But I mean,
Are you talking about reading them or writing?
Or you're writing them, you know, both, right? But the thing is that, you know, the tribunal is costing, I don't know, the state maybe 6 million, 5 million, God knows how much. And what's curious is that nobody else is doing them. And, you know, okay, and that's the thing, like, I suppose Irish, we never looked at ourselves, you know, media has never looked at itself really in Ireland. So, but this is the perfect time to do that, and they just kind of haven't done it.
Well, yeah.
Yes, maybe, I don't know, but.
Well, there's the whole sweep underneath the carpet kind of mentality as well.
I think they had supported the story and supported the line that the guards were giving them for so long, they couldn't walk back.
Yeah.
So as you would say, they doubled down. That's what I think.
But they couldn't analyze each other, because they had, in order to do that, they would have to analyze themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every news organization. I mean, that's why we've done it in this sort of sense, because every single news organization, you know, going, and there's internal divisions within every single news organization about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And often, there's people who are pro Morris, and there's people who are clearly maybe not pro
protecting their asses,
but pro Noreen, pro. So where do they go from here? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but
do their readers read it matter? Or do their readers, are they concerned? I'm not too sure. Certainly very few people are reading those big pieces, but that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
But it's there.
You know, and
it's stamped and it's there.
You know,
it's fine, John. Everyone's a lost leader, okay? They'll catch up eventually. That's it. So, you know, you can't do any more.
Well, that's what I was saying about your glasses. In a year's time, everybody's going to be like, they are probably, because it holds, and you've got a kind of Eric Morecambe thing going as well. So there's
the next big thing.
I thought I was more wise there, to be honest with you.
Well, okay. So Olga, yeah.
Can I just add to that, if you don't mind, folks?
Please.
For me, the quality, it's not so much even the integrity or their interests of the main players in the tribunal in this module. You know, all the house, let's call them the household names of reporting. That kind of genre in the papers. What's been eye-opening to me personally, I think, has been, they're not very bright, really. They're not brilliant people. They're not accomplished people. They just landed on their feet and got this exposure and made names for themselves.
Yeah.
Like in their answers, well, I won't say the journalist, but this journalist is given a platform on TV a lot, and he's published books and all this. And like the quality of his answers, like he's not a great speaker. He's not a great orator. He's his use of words, I thought, was very nervous. I was expecting more, you know, like there's a particular bankrupt, and he represents himself. He's very well known, and it was a very high profile bankruptcy and was in the papers, and I'm not going to mention the man's name, but he represents himself, and like all the senior counsels and even the judge are just in awe, like, of this great speaker. And I'm not comparing one to the other, but my point is, they're just very bland and boring when they're not hamming it up to sell a story.
Yeah, well,
is that?
I would. Well, myself and Olga would have sort of shared. We would have been slightly not. I don't think the word is intimidated, but they've such self-assurance, and they're so forthright in their own self-belief and rightness of what they're doing, that they're quite intimidating on Twitter. You know, would you agree with that, Olga? I don't know if.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I see that myself.
So
but looking at their answers and seeing them in the tribunal, the blandest, most dreary people, and their use of language and words, and they're not very interesting or smart, are they?
Sebastian, what's his face? The Daily Mail, is it? Was he saying in the Examiner content today about he's come from a family of integrity of journalism, and he's got prizes and accolades. You know, what's that got to do with the price of rice in China? Like,
well, this is it.
And that was.
They were two separate comments by two separate. But you're right. Yeah, Sebastian Hamilton from the Mail was talking about he's a third generation, you know, editor, and Fionn Sheehan was from the editor of the Indo was saying that you know, he had won awards.
Yeah.
I've got awards on my desk. There's awards on my desk.
Are they Peabodys?
Will tell you that I only deal in hard facts.
So he could decipher the difference between gossip and
Well, I have an award, and do you know what? I'm going to put it there. If I find where it is, I'm going to put it here now next week.
Your awards are your awards, lads. Olga, John, your awards are your awards.
Sorry, John, you were going to say, John, about just how sometimes we'd feel intimidated.
Well, the intimidation is totally the wrong. Intimidation.
It is, yeah.
But just that firstly, for instance, with Broadsheet, they would be judging us on, like, I don't know, these guys have like this have 400 staff in the Irish Times or whatever, and you know the resources and stuff like that. So they would be judging it. I mean, we would be judged at their level almost, you know, over the years. I don't know if you've noticed that, Olga, that we would be. They would. I'm not really articulating this very well, in fact.
I didn't articulate it myself very well either.
Yeah, I'm not expressing.
You know,
No. In fact, it's not intimidation. I think just when I started Broadsheet, I would have a great deal of respect for things like the Irish Times, and certainly a lot of journalists there, and a lot of journalists in the Indo. There was no sense that this was afoot, that this kind of stuff could happen. Very soon, though, after we started Broadsheet, we realised that there was something like this going on. That we found it definitely over the Kate Fitzgerald story, that there's something deeply, deeply wrong with them. Forget the guards, but there's just the media. There was nobody reporting on this story. That was, in fact, even by, you know, blunt tabloid terms, was a really sexy story. Do you know? I don't mean it was, but I'm saying that. And it was, and it still wasn't touched, you know. So this was 7 years ago, maybe, and a lot of the same people are involved in the disclosures. But we could see what was happening then, and I wasn't no longer not intimidated, but I think the scales had fallen from our eyes.
Okay, there's definitely sort of a hunkering down within that group, really. You can see it. I think those articles have kind of cemented that.
It should be remembered too, Vanessa. Sorry, just when you said that there, I didn't mean to cross over again.
No.
But when the tribunal, and I might have mentioned this before, when the tribunal was first set up, there was talk about all the papers having one legal team. You know, there was talk of having one legal team for all of the newspapers, and when you think of that now, it just seems so.
They all were sticking to the same story.
Well, they were just going to have one legal team representing them all. I mean, at least there was talk of it, and it just seems so staggering to think that that would have been the case now, knowing what we know. But
it's almost anti-competitive, actually, which is another story. I think that whole industry, I'm going to call it an industry. First of all, it's dying, but I think over the next year it'll accelerate. To be honest. I don't know anyone.
It won't, because if you look at any relation to any other country, the media is coming out through programs like this. Joe Rogan is easily millions ahead of his nearest competitor. So, you know, the young people, in relation to Conor O'Neill last week, who came on and spoke so articulately about the situation with the Francis Black bill and how he's working on it. That is the future of Irish media in relation to. He should be on RTE talking about that. But Broadsheet gave him a platform. So I'm saying that it's wide open in relation to that, as Vanessa said there, and as you are going along your daily thing. Mainstream media is dead. It's dead to anyone under the age of 35 or anyone who wants to get a handle on what is actually really happening. Because RTE bias is one of the biggest Twitter hashtags going. And there's a reason for that, because they're not getting their news.
Well, you see,
RTE... that this is a landmark situation that happened, this tribunal. Yeah. And they've been shown for what they are. And they're gone. So just move on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Sorry, Vanessa.
I just think with RTE is... they can literally do what they like, because they're covered, they're indemnified by the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what financial risks they take, you know, between pensions or investments or bad decisions.
Or a million euro payouts for libel.
Exactly, because they're indemnified. Whereas, you know, if you look at I&M, and I had to look at their accounts, well, I just scanned them, you know, but if I was a shareholder, I'd be selling up, lads.
Well, my point would be that is, like, you're right. RTE are far.
They can do what they like.
Yeah, well, they should be judged by a different standard. I think that's what I was trying to say. By the way, about the Irish Times thing, we would be. We had this typo war. Remember?
Yeah.
Irish Times would just have floods of typos. I'm not sure whether it's the case anymore. I don't think it is the case. And I think that it was stopped because of this. That we would print typos by then every half an hour. So they were coming in. In fact, we would not use many of the typos. We had a stack of typos. Headlines and commas but we were saying that this is something going on there. Like, you know, somebody who can misplace a comment like that is a dangerous person. You know, these are dangerous people. But the thing is, they get back. Yeah, you spelled something wrong, right? And we were like, yeah, but you got like 300 people that we've got myself and a dog called Blue, and person on a laptop that's overheated. I mean, what are you? You know, you were being judged by anyway. Sorry.
No. I think that's a really good point. And also, it's not about like it's not like this is about taking pot. Like I speak for myself. I don't know, John, but I think like it's not about taking pot shots for the sake of pot shots. I think.
Well, it is in my case, but go on.
Okay, yeah, but we're actually, John. You're messing now. John, you're messing. We're not taking pot shots.
No, we're not, because we just wanted to be better.
I am.
Yeah, but August, go on.
No, but I am when I can. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, but my point is that
very strange.
It's just disappointing. It's just been disappointing, and just wanted to be better. And I don't think. Is that okay to ask that? Is it okay?
No, I'm hugely disappointed, and it's almost heartbreaking, really. You know, because I was a big newspaper reader up till about 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't bought a newspaper in years.
Charlton, he's a big newspaper reader. He says that he reads the paper during his lunch break. And so he's
Which one?
The Irish Times, I assume. Did you get the sense it was the Irish Times he was talking about? It wasn't.
I presumed it was the Irish Times. I mean, I think pretty much everyone kind of assumes that all the legals will read the Irish Times, and that's all they read. You know, I think. But
it's that or the Daily Sport. I don't know why. I mean, he's got a subscription to both. So
yeah, but he's an avid reader anyway. From what you could gather, whatever he's reading. But we'll call it a day on that because it's been a very long week for you. I'll go with the shifting and the shifting and the pieces. You know,
they were beautifully written, actually. The text, it said the texture earlier. There was a lovely texture to them. So I hope they get picked up.
Yeah, but I'll go on that as well.
It was a team effort.
You have your.
It'll be a long tail, they say. Don't they say that about these things that they're?
Yeah, but the seminar in this weekend, the women in media, and fair play to Fionnuala who organised it in relation to that. That's what you call. Oh, sorry, John.
Fionnuala Killeen.
Fionnuala Killeen. Okay, so I didn't catch that at the start. But in relation to McGill, fouled the ball, and she was on the ball, and she ran with it, and it's all about the zeitgeist. So there is a change in media. So that seminar on Saturday, I wish you the best success with it, Olga. You've got some amazing speakers there, and that is the future of Irish media. That's it. Simple as.
Okay. Well, Olga, best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, John.
At the seminar at the summer school, and we'll have it up on the site tomorrow. And Gemma O'Doherty's giving a keynote speech, and it's streamed live and everything. So we'll put all those details and everything on the site tomorrow. Thanks, Olga. Big thank you to Johnny Keenan. Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, John.
Cheers. Marcel Kruger.
He's after giving us homework.
Yeah.
Oh, you pick your book yourself.
Well, no, I know.
I'd be going to start to shop in the morning and finding a book.
I'll tweet you some suggestions tomorrow. We'll wait for it.
Thank you very much for your brilliant suggestion.
It's going to be great fun, actually.
And a serious rival at last to the movies.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
guys.
Thanks so much for producing a brilliant show, Neil Curran.
Your time is running low, Neil. You know, there's a lot of
numbers are up.
Numbers are up. Keep rolling with Mamma Mia and crap like that, you know. And then
can we do our favorite ABBA songs?
Well, I remember the discussion last week, and they were saying, "Oh, you're just doing that for clickbait," and I was thinking, you know, I was thinking, come on, this is ridiculous. I've been to bigger dinner parties, but then I looked at the YouTube thing. But I mean, we're getting hundreds of viewers like after the event on these shows.
Wait for the book club.
This is it. Wait for
I have to think of a slot now.
Okay, everybody's
numbers. The number slot.
John does my annual review. I've done nothing.
Oh, no.
Neil is producing and doing the movie slot. Olga's doing the tribunal and the shifting.
Well, this is it. And Johnny.
Marcel is writing books and chatting about everybody, and he's bringing the book slot. Johnny is off doing the external festival
next season.
I'm an outsider.
Anyway, Stephen, thank you so much.
No worries. Yeah, talk to you.
Looking along for it. But we might speak to you next week before then, or
yeah, it'd be great.
Okay.
And you need to have a little chat sometime about Spain and what is going on in Spain, which is completely nuts. And they're in Europe, and people are in jail, and in Catalonia, and what's happening out here is really crazy. And they're not that far away from us. We love to go there, and we love to do all the rest of it. And it's.
Can you head up on the EU show, will you?
Are we going on the road?
Well, we'll do a special, Stephen. Well, if you can arrange that, we can get some guests from that you might know that we could have on, and maybe have a chat about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's wild what's going on out there. You know, it's like this is real fascism kind of thing that's happening, and it's there in Europe. And we have political prisoners, we have people in exile, and it's an ongoing. Every day there's a story. I'm very much in touch with Spain because I'm still there and I'm still going to be doing stuff. And Johnny's even going there in September in his rolling festivaling role.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Been too long.
Nice,
But
okay.
also the Palestinian gig on Saturday in relation to creating awareness and making money for MAPS, which is medical appliances for Palestinians on the ground, because you can't get any major supplies in, but if you can get money in, that's what they'll be doing, buying bandages and stuff for children and people that have been amputated through bullets that have been perfected in Israel. So we need to be talking about real issues and highlighting them, and just we're taking it outside of what Broadsheet do on a Thursday night, John. But it's very important that people are engaged and informed.
No. We come on. We don't shy away from the.
No, I know you don't.
From international matters.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly. But because there's been so much going on locally, and we do concentrate locally. But I think if we look globally and act locally, we're killing two birds with one stone. So
it's a local show for local people. I'm sorry, Johnny, if you don't understand that concept.
Yeah, well, John, we're going international, like, you know. Whether you like it or not, there is people. It's a bad way looking, John.
There's a glacier. There's a glacier.
And in a good way.
Thank you to Stephen. Thanks,
Viva
Stephen.
Cuba. Hello to all my friends in Cuba.
And hello to my mother, Vanessa, foreign celebrity. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Your photograph behind you, briefly.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Well, obviously, you know the Irish relay under 20s won second, got silver at last weekend in Finland in the World Championships, the under 20s, and I just wanted people to see the photograph actually, because this is the team that ran to get into the final. Okay, the lady in the middle. Can you see her there? I know. I hope I pronounce your name right. It's Rashidat Adeleki. Okay, she's the tallest lady there, and she's from Tala, and she's only 15, and she actually won the 200 meters. She got the gold in the 200 meters.
She's only 15.
15, wow. Yeah. Now, I'm going to get to my point. The thing is,
Marcel needs to go because his battery is going. Can we just say goodbye to Marcel? Goodbye, Marcel.
Oh, sorry, Marcel.
See you next week.
See you next
Books
week.
don't need batteries, Marcel.
Happy read.
There you go. There you go. That's our motto for next week.
Yeah. He's off to read a book.
Brilliant one, dude. Nice one.
Swat.
So, anyway, Rashidat, I know I got your name wrong, and I'm so sorry, but she didn't run in the. She ran in the heat, and they got to the final. Okay, and she didn't run in the final because she had an injury, and so I flicked to the team that won. Anyway, you know it. I'll flick to that now in a sec. Sorry, folks, but I just wanted to kind of highlight, you know, anyone that's anti-immigration or has an issue with open borders, look at what we've added to our gene pool here. That might sound kind of a bit in your face, but these ladies are just phenomenal, and it's brilliant. And I have a motto: the more the merrier. And these people they're now representing Ireland.
Amazing.
And it's, why not open our borders? Why not have them all here? You know, take in people. To widen our gene pool. And they were so proud, you know. You know, they come from a background where, you know, other cultures are recognized, but they were so proud to be there. And the interviews they did, and like, they're one of us.
Did you know?
Of course they are. They grew up here, like, and they were born here. Well, this is the new generation that's coming through. It's beautiful.
Exactly. So why aren't we embracing it?
So we are.
We're fully.
They're being celebrated. Vanessa, 3 weeks ago, there was a guy from Tullamore who was going to be extradited from Nigeria and his family, and they got up to something like 20,000 signatures. You know, and it was a similar thing in Palmerstown a few years ago. You know, these guys are integrated. It's us that miss this, but the next generation.
That's fantastic.
It is.
It's
So I just wanted to make a point. The point that you know, it's
well, it was beautiful.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So forget your prejudices and.
Fantastic, impeccably done, brilliant. Did you know Olga ran for Ireland?
John, that's so long ago. Come on.
No, really. Olga was an athlete and ran on the Ireland. You ran on the Ireland team, didn't you? Long distance.
So yes, a long time ago, John. Now
you did.
Mom, it's 12:15.
Ireland champ, Olga. There you go.
But sorry, that's
my battery's going out.
No, but I mean, you're very excited by the.
Oh yeah, no, I am. I think it's fantastic. It's brilliant. It's
isn't it?
Absolutely
It's just
brilliant.
And
So
you have to wonder if Rashidat had ran in the final, would they have beaten the Germans? Now we never know, but I mean, this was the under-20s team. Like that girl Rashidat is only 15.
Yeah,
you know, she's going to bring more gold back for Ireland.
Yeah, and
it's so proud.
Yeah, and it says a lot. Like it makes me think about. It actually made me think an awful lot about Dervla War because she's now like 37, probably 36, 37. So like these girls are working off the back of the foundations that were kind of laid because that's when sprinting kind of, you know, she was a sprint hurdler, Dervla, but you know there were other sprint hurdlers as well who were really coming to the fore then, and so it's just amazing how it's just layers upon layer upon layer, and it always takes time, but
This club seems to have something, no? In Dundalk.
Well,
those
there's Tala as well there.
There's one more woman there as well, I think.
Yeah.
What was your Olga? What was your running club?
I used to run for a club called Glenbower Athletic Club down in Cork.
And is that Sonia Sullivan's club?
No, she's
because she's co. And she would have been a couple of years older than she would be a few years older than me. But Glenbower Athletic Club.
Is it Derval's club? Is it?
No, Derval ran for Lee Vale, which is in Cork City. Glenbower was in East Cork.
Okay.
But do you think, Olga, in relation to what you've done, you know, you were long distance, I think, yeah? Mm-hmm. So, like...
Was it, Olga?
Cross country, yeah. Cross country and track.
Yeah.
How far would you run?
Over what distance, Olga?
Well, nobody wants to know this, John. It was 6,000 in cross country in college.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Jesus.
That's what I think running from here to Bray.
It's literally like reading one of your pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on a roll tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
No, in a good way.
No, in a good way. Yeah.
Well, do you know what, John? Could you do it better?
I beg your pardon?
Could you write those pieces any better?
No,
John is the writer. John is the best writer.
Well,
he's the greatest.
I think Olga's training in long distance running has kept her, you know, allowed her to do the tribunals.
Focused. It's a marathon, Olga.
Marathon, 6,000 meters. Wow.
The stamina.
Long time ago now, Stephen.
Yeah, but at speed, I'm thinking, Jesus. Olga, 6,000 meters at speed.
Long time ago.
Oh yeah, no.
And you used to wear those nicks that the sprinters wear.
Come on, can we?
Yeah, we got a photo of that next week.
Maybe you could wear them next week.
Do you remember Sonia had the accident?
I stopped in Atlanta. God love it.
God, you're really trying just to bring the whole tone down. We're celebrating the Irish women athleticism.
Well, we're talking about the new generation and the contribution that we can expect from.
I know it's a very lonely kind of existence, especially if you're at an international level. So, and as you're doing it on your own, isn't it kind of very important that where Irish sport and multiculturalism at the moment, that there should be more money invested right now in relation to women's athletics?
Well, I mean, possibly. It's a great contradiction to what the IRFU did.
Just throwing it out there, Johnny. Just throwing it out there.
I suppose in one way it's a great contradiction to the way the IRFU treated the women's national side by not bringing them to Australia for the tour, the Midsummer Tour. Now, we did that already, so I won't go into it. My point, I think, was really to remind people that newcomers to Ireland will actually look at the contribution they're bringing to this country, and welcome them for that. And it's a pity Lucky might have had something to add as well, because he would know a lot more about people coming into this country than I would, and what they're experiencing, and where they're from.
Yeah.
But it might just wake people up a bit and be a bit less intolerant, and face
it's more important than that, Vanessa, because you made the issue about boxing a few weeks ago in relation to how no one's getting behind these are winners. These ladies are winners. So this is the future. So if you want to start backing winners,
that can be a problem too.
No, it can't, Steve. No, just invest in winners. These are right now. So give them the money now. Give them money now.
Sorry, Johnny.
I want to hear about these women having to go down to spar for a few bob in 6 months' time. I want them to be invested in now.
Okay, we don't want. It's been so nice. Like, wouldn't it be awful if we were out? And when the guest was really impressed with us, she left, kind of going, "God, they're nice. They're no."
Have we made to show you, John? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, she
I was expecting someone else on tonight, but
I think she thought we were normal, which is
very disappointing if that's what she tells.
No, but it's good. I think it's good. It's a progress.
Anyway, Johnny, I agree with you about the investment in women's sport. I'm not denying that, but I only introduced the backdrop because I just wanted to remind those that are.
Because we're talking about it as well, Vanessa. So good call.
You have to be careful about the xenophobia. This blew up in Lidl with the lady and the Croatian, the one who went to the till. It made a big Twitter feed out of bringing her kid in and to collect a prize because she had drawn Croatia in the thing. You know this Twitter feed?
No.
And it was it ran for ages, and it went retweeted all over the place.
Yes.
And basically, but she was talking about the exact same issue about the French team, because the French team are all black and all from different.
Oh, 80% were.
And so this is the guy in the league.
They were the same 20 years ago. The team was from immigrant families.
Of course.
Sorry.
And it's a colonial nation. But the point is that that blew up in a kind of massive xenophobic argument where really at the end of this Twitter feed, it was like, well, is the lady just she was accusing the guy in the till who made this comment. He had a badge, a Lidl badge with his name on it that was obviously an Eastern European name, so he was obviously an immigrant, and he made this remark about why would you not be wanting Croatia? Why would you want France to win it? Is it like they're not French? So he made this comment, and this blew up this lady, and she made this kind of big feed amongst a bunch of journalists that's in the feed. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's like, it felt like by the end of the feed that she's validating herself, because she kind of made a big argument about this, and she was kind of like validating her, well, I'm all down with it. That's cool and all the rest of it. But I think there's a kind of a gray area in all of these things about, it's like winning for Scotland, losing for Great Britain, choosing your winners, and kind of where my Brazilian wife was very taken with this. She was going, you take your 600 Brazilians playing football all around Europe. There's Brazilians playing for Spartak Moscow. They're not recognized as kind of black people within the places where they play. But if you're a winner, you get recognized as a winner, and that's all I'm saying. That's the only point I'm making is kind of to identify winners before you identify the immigration issue. Before it's great to have champions, but if we just focus on champions, then that's
a very good point, Stephen. But I only brought it up really. I suppose one thing was to really mention the 15-year-old lady that went and won a gold medal for Ireland, and she's obviously first generation, and she's from Tala. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to assume that, but she certainly.
They got the Dublin accent.
She's obviously a first or second generation immigrant, okay? And I just wanted to introduce the lady, I suppose, but also, well, she's 15, but it's just to remind people that, it's good for Ireland.
Of course it is.
And I'm a more the merrier person, so. And it was only that I didn't want it to get all political, and so sorry, ladies. Congratulations on the win. I'm thrilled for you.
Yeah, I know. And they are fast, huh?
They're fast.
Gosh, they were the sprinters.
Okay,
but they really are.
But I think we should kind of keep an eye on their progress with Tokyo.
John is sweating. He's getting very red there.
No. Getting very red.
Wait for another chapter of
Stamina.
The what is it? The Annals of Saturn, or did I get that wrong?
Joy, sorry. Just before we go, Neil, could you tell us how George is? George is Neil's dog. Ear infection.
He had his ear taken out, and he's like a brand new dog. Yeah, they had to take his ear out. It was a long road of problems, but he's like a brand new dog. There's not a bother on him, and he's totally different. He's great when he goes for walks. He's got great appetite.
Processing the sounds and everything.
Yeah, well, dogs listen to it. From what I understand, it's about that they listen to their bone, or the sound is processed through the canal. So he's 90%. He's lost 90% of the hearing in the ear.
Wow.
But he gives zero shits. He just gets on with it. The resilience of dogs is just something to be envious of. And so he's great. He's never been better. His hair's grown back. He's got this thing now where he's got a beard. He's got his hair is like a different. He's in his bed somewhere. His hair that's grown here is a different color. Yeah, he's 4 now.
Do you know the way the pets morph into their owners, Neil?
That's it.
He's got the beard good on.
And it's great. And Neil, is he better than he was when before?
He's better than he's ever been. He's never been like this before. So
since childhood, or since he was a puppy.
Yeah, well, he would have had it on a smaller scale, but it's certainly the last, I'd say, possibly 18 months in some form. It would have been horrendous, and then the last 9 months would have been, constant headaches, 24/7, pains in his body, and like the vet tried everything, gave up on antibiotics, started treating with this new technology, these chemicals they put in their ears. It didn't work, and then the nuclear option was take the ear out.
Wow. Surgery. Yeah.
But he's worked. It's a bit like you, Stephen. You catastrophic decision, and it's worked. So
sure,
and now you can get up on the couch as well. Stephen.
The dog or me? I am, but I'll share with you what I'm actually what I'm rocking here. I'm rocking kind of granny constrictor socks.
Oh, support tights.
Support tights.
Oh, fantastic.
How about that? So this is me kicking back with my feet up in the air in my support tights. So, we just
wearing a girdle as well.
I'm wearing a girdle, possibly, but we got something to take care of the moves. We have a lot of stuff to keep in. But,
I know the feeling. Listen.
Look at, okay, I'm going to leave, but because somebody pulled me up on it, I'm not cured of anything, and in case, it's an important thing is to kind of not think that I'm totally cured. I hope the dog is completely cured and he's hearing everything great, but it's like that. It's kind of percentages, and I'm happy with the percentages I got back, and that's right.
So are we.
Steve, what do we need to do to send out your show next Saturday week?
I'll be there.
Yeah, but we need to send it out, Vanessa.
It's not. I wouldn't think it's selling too badly, Johnny.
We'll get.
I'm hugely popular.
Yeah, but apart from that, is there accommodation?
I'm a big name in Longford.
Is there accommodation to be got in Longford on a Saturday night?
Johnny, you need to focus on Palestine now. You've got this big thing now this weekend.
Is that this weekend? There you go.
I'm always moving forward, looking ahead, John.
Yeah, but then we've got Kenny's Cliff Walk.
Yeah, then we've got Kenny's Cliff Walk, and we got Steve's thing, and then we have
Steve's thing. Okay,
there's loads of stuff happening, John, because whatever July was, August is really going to be hot in every shape and form. So we need to kind of
And I must say,
I'm just talking about people getting on the streets and really kind of getting revolutionized and talking, because that's what I got at the festivals that I was at last month. And although you didn't get much feedback on, but I met some really interesting people. The people are out there, and they really want to engage. And so I think if we keep doing that on a broadsheet on the Thursday night, we're going to meet really interesting people that have an awful lot to say. And well done, lads. Happy birthday. And hopefully you're on for 8 more years.
But the birthday's next week, is it?
Birthday's next week, I suppose. 28th of July.
Will there be cake?
Huh?
Well, as long as somebody doesn't sleep through it like they did
Let
last
there be
year's birthday
cake.
party.
There better be cake. Oh God, yes. Well, and it'll be 75. Or how many shows, Neil? 75 shows next week.
Yeah, sure.
75
Something
shows.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow or see you next Thursday.
Good night, guys. See you later.
Night, night, everybody.